And we welcome you to another game day broadcast of North Bay Battalion Hockey from Memorial Gardens this afternoon. The Battalion hosts the Sudbury Wolves. Good afternoon. I'm Bob Coles. I'll be joined by Derek Lindeman in the pregame show. And Courtney Kenny will have the call today as the Battalion and the Wolves meet. A first of a back-to-back. They'll play Wednesday night in Sudbury. The Battalion come into this one red hot, looking for their second straight week of a perfect week. Seventh straight win overall if they win today. Fresh off a big win over Mississauga on Friday night. The game was tied 2-2 heading into the last minute. Battalion got 2 goals in the last minute, including a penalty shot goal by Brandon Coe to put it away. Kyle McDonald with the game winner, and that came after a 7-1 win over Niagara. For the Wolves, they're hot as well, coming in off a big win over the Barrie Colts last night. So both teams feeling good about their game as they enter this one this afternoon. The Battalion entered this game 5 back of Mississauga. Mississauga losing to Kingston last night. They play Ottawa this afternoon. So who knows, Derek, by day's end, the Battalion could be 3 back of the Steelheads and Mississauga with only 1 fewer game played.
Yeah, both teams going in opposite directions. The Steelheads wheeling a little bit as they've now lost 5 straight games, and the Battalion 6 straight wins. 2 teams heading in opposite directions. It's a perfect storm if the Battalion want to try and catch the Steelheads.
So let's talk about the Battalion. What are some of the reasons you think that, after struggling for a while, they've really put a hot run together looking for game number 7 in a row today?
It's just a combination of a lot of things. During that struggles, we see some key injuries. We're getting Kyle Jackson's return to the lineup, and just that experience that the kids developed, some of the young blood in this lineup, just developing a little bit more confidence. We're getting to see a lot more scoring around. Thursday in that 7 goals against Niagara, it was 7 different scorers. So we're seeing scoring not just from that top line. We're getting to see it a lot throughout the lineup, and everyone's pitching in right now. It's a team effort for this North Bay Battalion team.
This, of course, is the Long's Maple Syrup pregame show as part of our Frontline broadcast, our game day broadcast today. And then during the broadcast, we'll hear some of the Frontline podcast in the first intermission with Battalion head coach Ryan Houlihan. Good session this week with Courtney Kenny. And we'll also profile Caleb Dawson. Yes, related to Chris Dawson, the voice of Dawstar Video, and we'll learn about Caleb Dawson this afternoon, and we look forward to that. But on this pregame show, want to highlight the Sudbury Wolves as well. A lot to like about this Sudbury team. Now they're fighting for that 8th playoff spot. Peterborough and Sudbury right now are very close in the standings, so the Wolves need this one as well.
Yeah, they're currently sitting 9th in the conference, the Sudbury Wolves, only 1 point behind the Peterborough Petes, as you said, Bob. A lot has happened, though. This Sudbury Wolves team's gone with a little bit of a younger lineup. They're playing their 3rd game in 3 nights, but a big victory last night in Barrie. They won that one 7-4, spent the night in Barrie, so they're only making the road trip up from Barrie. It's not going to be something easy. 3-3 is quite difficult, even for the Sudbury Wolves. Mind you, the Battalion, this is 3-4 for them.
Yeah, they're at home on Friday against Niagara as well, and of course the 2 teams will meet again on Wednesday. Checking the goaltending, you mentioned the strong team play over the last 6 games, but it's been good goaltending. Joe Verbetic carried the weight while Dom DiVincentis was out with an injury. DiVincentis is back. He played well on Thursday night in the win over Niagara. And Verbetic was in net Friday. Very solid performance in Mississauga. And Battalion come back with DiVincentis this afternoon.
It was something that was questionable. When I was thinking about who should get the start today, it was questionable whether you'd see Verbetic or Dom DiVincentis coming back in goal for them against the Sudbury Wolves. Dom is making his 3rd appearance tonight against this Sudbury Wolves team. He comes in 1-1 on the season, giving up 4 goals in his 2 appearances. He's got a .264 against the Wolves and a .920 save percentage, so he's very capable and looking to finish off this weekend with his 2nd strong performance in 4 days.
Wanted to highlight some OHL successes last night. Kingston had no trouble scoring last night, scored 9 times. to beat the Steelheads 9-6. Local product, Lucas Edmonds, 6 points. I know he had 2 goals and 4 assists. Shane Wright had a couple of goals. Jordan Frasca had 5 points. So it just shows you that Kingston team, who only scored once here last week, can really put the puck in the net on certain games. You really got to be careful when you play Kingston.
Yeah, and that's 6 points for Lucas Edmonds. That ties a team record for most points in a single game. So congrats for him. That's something. We didn't get to see their full lineup when they were here, when they played the North Bay Battalion here last Sunday. They got a few guys back due to disciplinary actions. And you know what? They're a team that's reckoned with, and they can put points up on the board. They can score goals in bunches.
Yeah, they're in a good battle right now with the Hamilton for that East Division title. And but the story of the night last night, I was watching my friend Mike Farwell's tweets during the evening. And first of all, he tweeted how cold it was in Owen Sound, -60 with the wind chill or something. And fans were lining up outside to get in. They must love the Owen Sound attack, because I know a lot of people wouldn't be doing that. But and then they had a performance for the ages by the Rangers. Pavel Kajan, 65 saves. Kitchener defeating Owen Sound 4-3 in overtime. What a performance. And I noticed the picture that Mike Farwell sent along of the scoreboard after the game. 68 shots, right?
Definitely, he wasn't cold for the game. He was red hot. And just imagine how warm he would have been in that crease, moving side to side, making 65 saves, picking up the overtime victory for the Kitchener Rangers. Unbelievable performance. And that just goes to show you some of the good talent that we have within this OHL. And we get to have the opportunity to see them when they get to come up here right in our backyard of Memorial Gardens.
Well, I noticed Brandon Coe. Let's go back to Friday night, if we will. People who didn't see the game. It went back and forth. I mean, it looked at some point in the game Mississauga was going to take control. Then North Bay came in. They had their chances. It was very physical. It was probably the best game the Battalion have played against Mississauga since early in the year when they won 7-2. But what about Kyle McDonald? Took a ferocious hit at one point in the game, but he came back and he scores the winner.
He's one player that I've really liked since the trade deadline. Looked a little slow getting adjusted to life in North Bay, but over the last couple of games, I really found him getting stronger and stronger and really finding a spot on that right wing side. He's starting to use his body. He takes those hits. He can deliver those hits, and he definitely knows where the net is. And he was Johnny on the spot, picking that puck off of the backboards, off the kick plate to find the game winner on Friday night.
And how about Kyle Jackson sticking up for Brandon Coe? Took a hard hit in that game. Fights Callahan, the sort of, I guess, I don't know if they're enforcers anymore, but he's probably the guy you worry about when you play Mississauga as far as physical play. And Kyle Jackson stands in for Coe after taking a hard hit. I don't know if you want to see Kyle Jackson fight a lot, but that just shows how fierce a player he is.
And that's the thing is, no matter who you look up on that lineup, you're going to be standing up for your teammates, whether it's Jackson standing up for Cole. We've seen Arnsby stand up for guys. Arnsby, who's not in the lineup, standing up for guys. It's nice to see, and it really builds that team camaraderie amongst your other teammates. And you know what? Maybe it wasn't the right spot for Jackson sticking up for his teammate. You know what? He's just coming back for injury. I was a little when I saw that it was him sticking up, but you know what? Good for him, and it's just going to build the bonds between these players even more.
And of course, Brandon Coe, he played a physical game as well. He was a determined hockey player. I know he got the clinching goal, the shootout or the penalty shot goal, but to me, Brandon Coe's leadership was all over the ice in that game.
Yeah. Whether you're playing, you got to be expecting when you're one of the top players in the league that you're going to be played physically against, and you got to be ready to give it right back to create space for yourself. If you want to create space as a good offensive player in this league, you've got to be physical and create space for yourself, and that's what Brandon Coe is doing. What a wonderful penalty shot he had there as he pulled the puck back just in front of Ranger before tucking in over top of him on his forehand. Now,
we mentioned the Wednesday night game in Sudbury. That'll be North Bay's next game. Next game that we'll do will be Friday night against the Peterborough Petes. The Petes, who are here opening night, will wrap up their season series in North Bay on Friday night, and that'll be the last game with the 500 fans. After that, the Battalion don't play at home for a while, a couple of weeks, I think. Then they'll have 1,000 or 50% capacity rules that take effect. So I'm sure the Battalion after Friday night's game will be appreciating more fans, because when you get those plays in the game, like a controversial call by an official or a great goal, a great save, having people here to witness it is just gives the players so much excitement.
Yeah, we've heard the players and the coaches talk about it, how the feeling has changed a little bit since even the 500 spectators have been allowed here. You start to hear them and feel them a little bit when you hear them chanting, "Go Troops, go," responding to those big hits. But it's even makes it a little bit more difficult on those visiting teams when we can get much more people in the building here.
Okay, Derek, that's going to wrap up our pregame show as we get set for the North Bay Battalion and the Sudbury Wolves. As the first of 6 meetings down the stretch here. After today's game, the Battalion will have 21 games left, so every game's important as they try and catch Mississauga in the Central Division. Derek will have the color, and Courtney's got the play-by-play story. Courtney, over to you.
Thank you very much, Bob and Derek, who is, of course, my color guy, as Bob just mentioned, but thank you very much for taking us through the pregame show. We still have a couple of minutes until puck drop here as Sarge makes his way around the ice. And Derek, you've taken a lot of hockey this weekend. Are you not hockeyed out?
No, it's it's been a really exciting weekend here at the North Bay or at Memorial Gardens. I'm 5 for 5 victories so far this weekend, so I don't want to jinx anything here.
No pressure.
It'd be nice to see them win 6 games in the 4 days that I've been here. 4 of those games with the men's and ladies Lakers both winning their back-to-back games. The women beating up on Queens twice, and the men taking 2 games against RMC. It's a beautiful building to watch hockey in here.
Yeah, and you know what? Good to see the OUA back. They weren't considered one of the elite amateur leagues. Same with the Junior A circuit with the NOJHL, so the Voodoo's back in action as well. So good to see both of those groups back in action for sure, Derek. And I know how much you and Matt missed the OUA games, so it's good to see you guys get back in the ring for that.
Thanks, Courtney. And you know what? When you're talking about how well hockey is here right now, live in North Bay, just down the street, the Powassan Voodoos are currently on a 4-game winning streak since losing their first game coming back, but they're red hot down in Powassan. The Lakers hockey is strong here at Memorial Gardens, and then the North Bay Battalion reeling off 6 straight wins, looking for their 7th tonight.
Yeah, and outside of the women's team and the Voodoos for a few years, it was kind of those were the only winning programs in the area, but now it's good to see the Battalion are red hot, and same with the men's team of the Lakers as well to join the other team. So it's a good time to be a hockey fan in North Bay, and of course, it's a good day to be a sports fan as well. Derek, with the big game here coming tonight. I know we've talked about it on a previous broadcast, but pretty excited to watch the Super Bowl here this evening as well.
You got 2 good games. It's going to be played in the Ram Stadium, so they're going to get a little bit of an advantage as it's preparing for 6:30 kickoff there. Cincinnati Bengals taking on the Los Angeles Rams. Really exciting. Going to be an entertaining game no matter who you cheer for. And that halftime show, what a lineup they have for the halftime show.
Oh, yeah, it's going to be a good one. But anyways, before we get to Canada here, why don't you take us through the starting goaltenders for today's game?
Getting the start for the Sudbury Wolves, number 70, Mitchell Weeks. He's making his 37th appearance on the season with a 14-16, 3-2 record. Comes in with a 375 goals against average and an even 900 save percentage. And getting the start for the North Bay Battalion, 31, Dom DeVincentis. Making his 16th appearance, a 5-7 record, 281 goals against average, and a 903 save percentage. We're in for a great goaltending matchup tonight.
Should be, and these two goalies like playing against each other is head-to-head. DeVincentis has a 929 save percentage in 2 games. Weeks, a 923 in 5 games played. He's played all but one of these games between the Wolves and the Battalion. So it's going to be, these teams are familiar with each other. And just one other interesting note is the back-to-back first overall picks in Ty Nelson and Quentin Musty. Nelson has 6 points in 6 games, and Musty has 3 in 6. But we'll take it to Canada right now, and we'll be back for the call momentarily.
Our home and native land, true patriot love in all of us command.
A beautiful rendition there of the "Oh Canada." Always great to hear that song before any hockey game, especially here at Memorial Gardens, as we get set for the Sudbury Wolves taking on the North Bay Battalion. Sudbury coming in after a big 7-4 victory over the Barrie Colts last night in Barrie, and the North Bay Battalion reeling off 6 straight wins. Biggest of all, probably Friday night, as they beat Central leading Mississauga Steelheads by a score of 4-2. Courtney, welcome back to the podcast.
Thank you very much, Derek. And as you mentioned, the Wolves with a big win over the Barrie Colts. The Colts are a tough out this year, so good for the Wolves to, after a bounce-back disappointing game Friday against the Ice Dogs, to bounce back with a win there against the Colts. So good to see that, but that'll be interesting to see how slow their legs are today. This is 3-3 for the Wolves, so we'll see here momentarily as the teams get ready for face-off.
Yeah, they took the opportunity last night. They spent the night in Barrie, so they didn't travel back to Sudbury and making the trip up here today. They just came straight here this morning after staying in Barrie the night before.
All right, and we're off with the Wolves traveling left to right and the Battalion going right to left. The Battalion in their home greens and the Wolves in the road whites, as the puck's back to Ladd, who chips it over the blue line. Van Steensel picks it up in the neutral zone, but it goes back into his own zone instead. Van Steensel now circling, passes it off to Ladd. Ladd taking a moment to decide what to do, passes up to McDonald. The Windsor connection. McDonald just chips it up, and it's right to the Wolves blue line, but it's batted out by Mania. Russell picks it up by the boards, but instead, first overall pick, Musty takes it and takes a shot, and it's high and off a stick over DiVincenzo's net and out of play.
Quite the interesting matchup for the Battalion to start. They're starting their second unit line, going against the third line of Musty, Farron, and Boudreau for the Sudbury Wolves. I'm really liking that line of Russell, McDonald, and Van Steensel right now. Kind of looking like Ryan Houlihan starting to ease them into that checking lineup as we get to see the top line come up for them now.
Yeah, and Farhan's going to be an interesting player to watch as he's a Sudbury product. He was picked up at the deadline for Chase Stillman from the Peterborough Petes. As the Battalion get it into the Sudbury zone, Petrov just chipping it in with Coe behind the net. Coe muscled off the puck, but Jackson in his third game back since injury gives it off to Petrov. Petrov now circling with it, passes it off to Nelson. Nelson with a wrist shot, and Weeks is just going to glove that one down.
Yeah, it's nice to see Kyle Jackson back in the lineup. This is his third game back in the lineup after missing 2 months of action due to a lower body injury. He certainly came back with some big numbers, scoring in his first game, picking up right where he left off as he was reeling on that 4-game point streak, as we have a little bit of confusion there on the ice as the referees are going to go over and talk to the head coaches. I know a lot on the weekend. They had a lot of issues with the score clock, and you hear the horn go just randomly during games. So we kind of questioned whether or not it was something. We hadn't seen it here in North Bay for a Battalion game, So that might have been the issue to start off already. 19:07 on the clock.
And the Battalion win it back to Nelson, and Winslow with the quick shot in, and it looks like it handcuffed Weeks a little bit, but he's able to cover up. So really quickly, 2 stoppages in play, 19:02 left here in the first period.
Not only are we seeing the big 3 up front, we're getting to see Winslow and Nelson. They're taking control of that top pairing minutes right now as they're being utilized a lot throughout the game. You're going to see those guys play nearly half of the game on the ice between the two of them.
And the Wolves get the puck back into their corner, the broadcast side of the booth, or the building, but they get it out eventually. Here comes the Wolves going up the ice. It's Lerman. Lerman with a shot in on DiVincenzo, but he just covers it up. So a little bit of a stop and go here to begin the first minute and 15 seconds of the game. It feels like the two teams are trying to figure each other out.
Yeah, nothing really going here as back-to-back action. This is the 4th quick whistle as Dom DiVincenzo is getting his first touch of the night. Nice to see him back, making his second start in 4 days, playing really well in his return Thursday night in that win over Niagara.
Wakely wins the puck back into his own corner and pass it on up to Sema. Sema just chips it on down the ice. It's not going to have legs for icing, though, as Robinson goes back and gets the puck for the Wolves. Robinson up to McCallum. McCallum with the bank shot up, but it just goes to Paul Christopoulos. Christopoulos banks it back up in the neutral zone to Wakely. And now coming is Lucan. Lucan passes it off to Oatwater, who just dumps it in. And out to play it is Weeks. Weeks up to McCallum. McCallum chips it up and over. And out of the Wolves zone to Lucan. Lucan having it against the boards in a bit of a battle, but he shovels it back up through the neutral zone into the Wolves zone. Wolves at the puck in their own zone with Robinson. Peyton Robinson passes it on up to Jelic. Delic with a little bit of a move to try and get around the defender, but he loses the puck in the corner, but he gets it back to the blue line, and throwing it on ice, or on net, is Mania, and it just hits Battalion leg in front and goes out of play.
Big shout out to the start of the game to Vance Turcott, who's watching the game on the YouTube Battalion channel. Thanks for tuning in to the Frontline broadcast. If you want to chat with us, you can do it through the Facebook app or the online YouTube channel chat, and we'll give you a shout out or try and answer any of your questions. Again, thanks for listening.
Yeah, and post-game with Ryan Houlihan, we'll try and pass along your comments as well as McDonald shooting the puck up to Van Steensel, who gets a piece of it and down into the Wolves zone as Weeks come out to play, but he gives it away almost to Mitch Russell in the face-off dot, but Russell fanned on the shot. Ladd chipping it in out of his own zone. He gets it off Conyon, and Conyon now into the back corner with the Battalion. Mania over to his D partner Robinson. That is Liam Ross, I should say. Mania with the shot, but it doesn't get through. Van Steensel now chasing the puck up into the neutral zone. He takes off one defender. He tries to get around Ross, but instead he just shovels it on net, and it's an easy push away by Weeks. Puck now behind the net. McDonald goes and gets it. McDonald being hounded there by Mania. Now Goyette, one of the exciting rookies on the Wolves, just pushes it in too far, and DiVincentis stops it with the paddle and decides to cover up.
Taking a look at how these teams have fared against each other so far this year. This is their 7th of 12 meetings. They have split the first 3 games 3-3 with the North Bay Battalion, losing the last one on the 28th of January by a score of 6-4. That one right here in the Memorial Gardens. So Battalion trying to look to get back on the winning ways against the Sudbury Wolves rivalry, as it's always a tight matchup as these two fare between the Highway 17 battle.
Tarasevich with the puck, carrying it over his blue line. Chips it on down into the Wolves zone, and it's going to be called for icing as he didn't just quite break the red line there. But yeah, as you mentioned, that last game against the Wolves was certainly not fun. That was one of my first back after isolating, and I almost kind of wish that I was still isolating after that game.
Yeah, unfortunately, that was during the time where there was no fans and we weren't in the building. You got to see it as part of your other media outlets. Bay Today writing up the article for them, so good for you to get the opportunity to cheer them on, and I know you were.
As the puck's in front of the net, and it's just juggled around, but DiVincentis standing tall. And it's out to Tarasevich, who chips it on out. Bouchard now still playing with the Battalion, as there's a bunch of injuries still, with Liam Arnsby up on front, still out with an injury. He's still playing with that cage out there. And the Wolves quickly turn around. Wolves breaking into the Battalion zone. DiVincentis gets the puck again and just covers up, doing the safe thing. And yeah, I just have to say, I mentioned on the podcast this week that it was kind of nice with no fans in attendance, because I actually got to wear my jersey at the one game and pretend to be a fan, and then it was kind of weird when you're the only one really cheering in attendance. So
yeah, it must have been a strange feeling, but really pleased with how Brett Bouchard has fit his way into this lineup. Really has sat in really comfortably on that fourth line on that right wing side, and scoring his first goal just a couple of games ago.
And it's chipped down the ice by Brandon Coe, but he chips it at his blue line, so it's down for icing. So another icing call goes against the Battalion.
So when we're still looking at the injuries, we're still without Liam Arnsby, who is still going to be out for a couple weeks. They're dealing with a lower body injury. Tanias Mathern out with a shoulder injury, and Michael Podolou still absent due to a upper body injury he suffered there a couple weeks ago, taking that vicious hit on a Sunday afternoon.
Yeah, hopefully both those guys can get into the lineup sooner rather than later as the Wolves try and shoot it in, but it's wide of the net. Now Petrov at the half wall, passes it on out to Jackson. Jackson with a flip pass up to Coe. Coe with speed, coming in past the blue line, and he loses the handle of it. And the Wolves retaliate, just getting it out of their zone. Winslow now at the neutral zone, almost overskates it, but he gets taken out hard along the bench by Larman. Now Nelson with it behind the net, passes it back to Winslow. Winslow up to Coe. Coe looking for some options, passes over to Jackson. Jackson skating with speed over the blue line over to Petrov. Petrov carries it in through the middle to Jackson. Jackson turns to shoot it, but it's blocked in front. Coe now with the puck in the corner, tries to give it to Jackson. A little bit of a give and go, but the puck just squirts out to Weeks, who wisely covers up as that dangerous top line of the North Bay Battalion was starting to buzz a little bit.
What a great behind-the-back pass there for Petrov as he leaves it for Jackson. Unfortunately, not able really to find the handle on it and get a clear shot on goal. Through the first 4.5 minutes, really nobody has established any real presence in the offensive zone. Almost like a heavyweight fight as both teams trying to feel each other out and fight every inch of the ice out there so far.
Wolves winning the face-off battle as Boudreau now with the puck at the half wall, close to the broadcast side of the rink. Back to Mania. Mania passes it up to Musty. Yeah, but it gets chipped out in the neutral zone by Outwater. But the puck is given back to Musty, who shoots it on in and around the back of the net. Outwater up to Sema. Sema carries the puck in over the blue line. And he can't get around Musty. Musty now skating around behind his own net, looking for some options. He tries to pass it over, but it's hit by the shin of Sema. And the Wolves get covered, or I should say, the Wolves get the puck control back in their own zone. Musty now carrying it over his blue line. Passing on up to Farhan. Farhan, the Sudbury product, shoots it on into the Battalion zone where Govro's going to get it. And a quick pass up to Van Steensel just off his stick. Van Steensel behind the net, battling for the puck. Can't quite get it. Konyan now with the puck at the half wall. Konyan skating it around in his zone, looking for some options up ice. He chips it on over to Goyette. Goyette coming in, and Delic with the shot, but is blocked in front with Van Steensel turning around. Van Steensel up to McDonald. McDonald crosses over the blue line, over to Van Steensel, but he misses the pass. And the Wolves with the puck again in their own zone. Konyan gets it up to Goyette, but it's off Goyette's skate. Russell with a big hit on Goyette. And Konyan gives it over to Delic. Delic tries to shoot it, but it breaks a stick in front. And Lucan has it behind his own net, and he chips it on up to the wall for Collins. Collins back to Delic. Passing it over to Holmes. Holmes to Smith. Smith with it over to Collins. Collins walking the blue line. Shoots it, but it's off the skate and given to Mitch Russell, who then gets his stick hit, and the puck is off it. Puck now sent all the way down the ice. Looks like icing is waved off. Play on, 13:25 left in the first period.
Really, again, only 5 shots so far, 3-2 in favor of the Sudbury Wolves as we reach the 13-minute mark.
And a quick shot, but Divinchentis tall to the task with the pads, but he can't quite hold on to it. Tarasevic now carrying it over his blue line. And he's going to just circle around to Romani. Romani chips it over, and he gains the zone. Romani looking to Dipsy Doodle and try to get it over with a backhand shot, but he misses the net entirely. Asadorian passing it on up to Smith. Smith chips it into Divinchentis. Divinchentis back to Nelson. Nelson to Tarasevic. Tarasevic over to Romani. It's a bit of a 2-on-1 for Romani. And Bouchard, who just chips it on, but Weeks his hands tall. Almost ran out of space a little bit, but it was a good chance nonetheless for Bouchard. Wolves now regrouping in their own zone. Chipping it on up to Asadorian. Asadorian shoots it on into Divinchentis, and Divinchentis is just going to hold on to the puck and freeze it.
What a great opportunity for Brett Bouchard as he tips that shot by Tarasevic just into the pads of Mitchell Weeks. That line of Romani, Bouchard, and Tarasevic, that's, even though it's fourth line, they can still play valuable time. They're a very offensive team. We got to see some creativity there from Romani trying to go high over the head of Weeks on his backhand.
Wolves win the face-off in the Battalion zone, but Ladd gets the puck in the corner. Ladd chips it on out to Jackson, who gives it up to Petrov. Petrov trying to find Coe on the other side, but he hits Jackson's shin, and the puck bounces into the Wolves zone. Ross now back to Mania. Mania looking for some options, gives it to McCallum, but McCallum loses the handle of it, but he kicks it over the blue line. McCallum back to far end, but instead Petrov picks it up. Ladd chips it on out to Coe. Coe going to pass it behind his back to Jackson. Jackson across to Petrov, who shoots it, and no goal. The red light went on, but Matvey Petrov, it looks like he was stoned by Mitchell Weeks. And even the crowd reaction seemed to think that the puck had gone in the net too.
Reacted to the red light. Referee right there on the spot as he was right behind Weeks on the goal line, having a great view of that one. So definitely he would have been able to make that great call, but even from up here, it looked like Weeks didn't know where it was as it sat behind him. Great job, Petrov, really there for picking up that behind-the-back spin pass from Jackson.
Yeah, that was a great option. He was almost all alone in there as the Wolves win the face-off back, but he was all alone, and it looked like, when you think Petrov's going to shoot, you think 9 times out of 10 that he's going to score, as it's just sent all the way down into the Battalion zone for icing. Nelson to retrieve it. But yeah, what a shot by Petrov, and again, like you mentioned, Weeks looked behind him. He thought it went in, and so did the goal light.
And even just taking a look from the overhead cam that we can see now, we really can't even see the puck clearly behind Weeks. That's one of those areas that you're asking the goal shooters really to shoot right now, is in tight to the body, near the elbow, trying to get them to close that. A lot of pucks we've seen lately kind of squeak in between the arm and the upper body, right in that same spot Petrov was trying to find.
Jackson wins it back to Winslow, but his pass to Coe is thwarted. Coe now tries to give it, but he gives it up to Musty. Musty with the backhand shot, but it might have just hit the skate of DiVincentis or the post. Either way, close call for the Battalion. Musty with the puck behind the net, but he loses it to Nelson. Nelson passing it on out to Coe. Coe carries it over the red line. Now over the blue line, looking for some reinforcements, but Petrov was just a half a step too much ahead of Coe, resulting in the icing call. 11-12 left in the first period.
Musty had a glorious opportunity to pick up his 12th on the season, going in all alone, but not able to beat Dom DiVincentis as he just gets that right leg out to knock that puck into the corner. That's probably Sudbury's best chance of the first 9 minutes of play so far.
Yeah, they're outpacing the Battalion on the shot total too, 5-3 so far. But the Battalion looked to have the more dangerous chances up until that moment. And now McDonald picking up the steal. He comes in on Musty, or Weeks, I should say, but it's saved by Weeks. Now it's all the way back out to the blue line. Back on over to McDonald, who carries it into the neutral zone and tries to pass it over to Van Steensel, who plays it offside.
I know I talked about Kyle McDonald in the pregame show with Bob, and that's one of the things I really like is the way he knows how to get to the net and create room for himself. There we see him do a little bit of toe drag to get around the defender. Just couldn't beat Weeks to that high blocker side, but a glorious opportunity. Kyle McDonald really fitting into this lineup.
Paul Christopoulos carrying it over the Wolves' blue line, passes out front to Russell. Russell can't get the shot away. That's a second fanned attempt now from the slot. Delic now carrying it over the Battalion blue line. Delic into the corner. Hit hard by Christopoulos. It's played around to Peyton Robinson. Now it's in net, or now it's in deep for Goyette. And it's in front. And what a chance by Konyan. He had only DiVincentis to beat, as we're getting some rough stuff after the whistle here. He had only DiVincentis to beat, but he missed the net entirely and out of play.
Yeah, Paul Christopoulos just giving Konyan a little extra shove, sending him to the ice as he missed that glorious opportunity. But a lot of the attention from Sudbury is on first overall pick of 2021, Quentin Musty, but they're actually being led by 3 rookies. When you look at their scoring, it's 3 rookies, actually 4 at the top of the scoring, being led by David Goyette, who has 16 goals, 39 points on the season for a rookie. And then you got Delic, who scored 2 last night in the Barrie victory, sitting second, and Konyan sitting third with 29 points. So when you look at Sudbury, they're built really strongly around their rookies, and they're set to make a run in the next year or two.
Oh yeah, this Wolves team is going to be scary good along with the Battalion. So that battle of Highway 17 is going to be deadly in years to come. As Bouchard with it up by the Wolves' blue line, he just chips it on in, and the Wolves recover. Now it's back out over the Wolves' blue line, and it's back to Ladd at the Battalion zone. Govero with the puck now. Govero carrying it on over the red line, and he just chips it on down, and they're going to do the dump and chase as Tarasevic goes after it, but it's to Bouchard at the half wall, and then Tarasevic gets it and passes it out to no one in the middle. But Bouchard getting it back in the neutral zone to Tarasevic. It could have been offside there, but Tarasevic with the puck, and he shoots it on Weeks. And Weeks is going to just cover that one up as well. And Weeks kind of seems on his blocker side. It's kind of a little bit weak on it. Weeks is weak on his blocker side. I couldn't, I wasn't going to make the joke until you started laughing, but it just looks like he's been handcuffed a couple of times there, Derek.
It's almost like the North Bay Battalion have the book on Weeks to go to that blocker side as they've tried numerous times. We've reached the halfway point. Shots stand 5-4 for the Sudbury Wolves. Neither team have been able to solve the goaltending. But coming up in the first intermission, I'll be joined by Bob Coles. We'll have a little tidbit of the Frontline podcast, as this week Ryan Houlihan sat down with host Tom Parise and Courtney Kenny as they get to recap the first half of the season and talk about the trades that were made at the trade deadline. And then we'll have the conclusion of these as we take a look around the OHL on this Sunday afternoon and prepare everyone for the Super Bowl game tonight.
Absolutely looking forward to watching that Super Bowl game. We're gonna have a pretty good time, I think, Derek, watching that game of the LA Rams versus the Cincinnati Bengals. As Bob's hanging out down on Media Row, he's doing the pointers. He's dancing. He's having a good time. We might as well get Bob in the Sergeant mascot outfit at some point this season. I think that'd be pretty priceless to see.
I think he needs an ISO cam just for his dance moves for this intermission break.
All right, play's about to get back underway as Wakely wins it back to Outwater, who pushes it to Nelson. Nelson with the high shot, but it misses the net. Winslow now chips it on in behind the net. Wakely fighting for it, but it's back out to Winslow on the far side blue line. Winslow chipping it in, and Wakely with it in the corner. Wakely looking for some options, but he can't quite get past Mania. Sema now takes his man to the boards as the puck squeaks out to Winslow at the blue line. Wakely just hovering around that same area, just keeps going back and forth in the corner. And Sema's taken down, but no call. Wakely pushed off the puck, but it's now in a bit of a scrum right behind Weeks. But the Wolves come out with it as they get the puck out to Nelson at the blue line. Nelson looking to shoot it on net, and he does, but Weeks just calmly kicks it away. Puck out to the neutral zone for Winslow, who carries it up. And he passes it back to Nelson. Nelson with a quick outlet pass to Wakely. But Wakely loses the handle of it as he was just about to pass someone. And now we got looks like maybe an offside call or maybe even a too many men on the ice call.
That's what I was thinking as I count at the moment 6 Sudbury Wolves on the ice as you see Larman trying to sneak off the ice. So good eye there by the linesman. Josh Jolly picking that up. Too many men to call going against the Sudbury Wolves as the Battalion get their first power play opportunity this afternoon.
Yeah, and the Battalion power play is up to 25.8%, good for second in the league. And the Wolves have a 77.2% penalty kill, good for 15th as we see that top line or top power play opportunity get out there as Nelson shovels it over to Coe at the point. Coe looking for some options. Back to Nelson. Nelson at the blue line over to Coe at the faceoff dot. Coe sends it in deep to Russell. Over to Petrov, but Petrov's shot is blocked and the puck is sent down the ice. DiVincentis out to play it behind his net, gives it to Nelson. Nelson looking to skate the puck up the ice, as he's prone to do. But he's going to back pass it to Brandon Coe. Coe carrying it over the neutral zone. Coe in at the goal line side of the net with Weeks, but he gives it away to a Wolves player who's just going to chip it on out to the neutral zone where Nelson's going to calmly glove it down. Nelson skating around, getting past his man McCallum. He now carries it back into the Wolves zone. Nelson on the near side half wall, passing it over to Jackson. Jackson's going to give it back to Nelson. They're going to trade places. Nelson over to Petrov. Back to Nelson at the point. Nelson into the faceoff dot for Coe. Coe is going to give it back to Nelson. Nelson looking around for some options. And he's just going to try and flutter it in on net, but it's going to be blocked by a couple of sticks. And the Wolves are going to casually send it on down as this power play is proudly supported by Noah Strong Foundation. They're going to have some things in the works here as Russell comes in and looks for a tight angle shot, but he can't beat Weeks as the Noah Strong campaign is going to give us some option updates here for you as Petrov shoots it as well, and it's kicked away by Weeks. And we're going to bring those updates to you hopefully soon. Petrov now over to Coe, who shoots it, but it's high and out of play. Coe was all alone in that face-off dot area, right close to the goal crease, but just couldn't finish it as we see the second power play unit come out now for the final 31 seconds of this man advantage.
That was the third shot on goal for the North Bay Battalion during that power play. That's one of the struggles with Coe being on that right wing side. Being that right-handed shot, he's got to turn his body to get onto his forehand, and that just gave Weeks enough time to get across to make that save.
Winslow passing it to McDonald in front for Wakely, and it's into the corner. Wakely with a golden opportunity, but Wakely misses the net. Ladd now walking the line. Over to McDonald. McDonald looks to shoot, but it misses the net. Winslow chasing the puck down. Gets it past his man and into to Van Steensel. Van Steensel out front to Wakely. Wakely shoots it, and it's in the crease. But Weeks is reaching behind him, and he's going to be able to cover that up. 4 seconds remaining on the Battalion power play.
Great opportunity there as the puck again gets behind Mitchell Weeks, forcing him to find it, reach behind him before covering it up there. But what a glorious opportunity. Wakely all alone in the slot. He had options. He had McDonald at the side net. You know what? That's really nice to see. When you got those options in tight, you make the goaltender guess and hopefully catch them off guard, leaning the wrong direction.
Absolutely, and it almost worked out for the Battalion as the power play is now over. And Ladd just carries it to the red line and dumps it back down to Weeks. Weeks out to play it to his defenseman Ross, the new captain of the Wolves as well, after the trade for Thompson to the Sioux. Wolves are just going to chip it on down the ice, and Ladd's going to get it behind his own net. Pressured there by Goyette, though. Ladd chips it on up and out of his zone, back to Ross. Ross misses it as it bounces over his stick, and he's back into his own zone with Romani hot on his heels, but he's going to pass it over to Mania. Mania on the near side half wall, taken out by Romani. And the Wolves are going to take it back in behind their net. A little bit of back and forth action here as it's now back out to the neutral zone. Romani just chipping it back to Lukin in his own zone. Christopoulos looking for the lead man of Tarasevic, but he loses the handle of it coming over the blue line. Christopoulos takes out his man along the boards, and Ross now joining the rush. Check that. That's Delic. And the shot comes into DiVincentis, but DiVincentis just blocks it into the corner. Delic now with the puck in the corner of the Battalion far side wall. Bouchard over his stick. Holmes now walking the line, passing it over to Konyan. Konyan chasing it in, but Christopoulos takes him down. Delic now being harassed as the puck's back to Holmes, and it's back off the end plate. Collins in the back end looking for a guy out front, and he does find a guy out front, and his shot, and it's in the back of the net, as that looks like David Goyette. As the puck found him in the crease, the Sudbury Wolves lead 1-0.
Goyette's 17th of the season has given the Sudbury Wolves a 1-0 goal game as the puck is bouncing around. Nobody able to find it as it just squirts to the side of the net. David Goyette making no mistake burying that for his 17th of the season as the Battalion fall down 1-0 here.
Yeah, it was sent out front. It missed the intended target, who I believe was Konyan. And instead it finds Goyette as they had two guys there in the crease. And they're able to solve Dom DiVincentis on their sixth shot of the game. The Battalion countering with their top line now of Coe, Jackson, and Petrov. And the puck's back down into the Wolf zone. But McCallum almost had a free lane into the zone as the puck was off Winslow's skate. And he picked it up at the blue line. But instead, I think it's called for offside.
I was just about to question. From up here, it sure looked offside. And I was just like, wow, how did they miss that call? But good eyes there by linesman Ryan Card picking up that offside here as the Battalion trying to recover after giving up that opening goal.
Yeah, Battalion on the 6-game winning streak as well as Robinson's going to chip it into the Battalion zone. Nelson goes to the corner to find it, but it looks like they're going to call icing.
We'll see what happens here after that call as the puck's going to come back outside the Battalion blue line to the face-off dot just in front of the broadcast booth as play kind of slowing down a little bit since that goal again. Battalion still trying to get some momentum here.
Yeah, just under 5 minutes left in the first period. Nelson carries it over the red line and chips it on down, but Weeks is out to play it. Robinson over to the far side half wall to DeGrazia. DeGrazia, the former Rayside Balfour Canadian, carrying the puck over the blue line. And the shot comes into DiVincentis, but DiVincentis kicks it away into the corner. McCallum with the puck now. Looking for some options, shoots it out front. Petrov instead picks it on up. And Petrov tries to shoot it on over to Coe, but it hits McCallum in the neutral zone, and it's going to bounce all the way down into the Wolves zone. McCallum picking it up from his defenseman in his own zone. Looking for some options up ice again. Tries to fake out water, and instead he just dumps it down and goes for a chase, or for a shift change. Ladd with the puck, up to Sema. Sema has Outwater, who passes it up to Outwater, and Outwater tries to backhand it back to Sema, but they lose the handle. Musty now with the puck in his own zone. Mania now just going to kind of rim it around his own zone, but Ladd's going to pick it on up, and he's going to throw it on net. And it's going to miss. Mania up to Musty. Musty over the red line. Musty over to the blue line. He tries to get it past, but Wakely's going to pick it up, and instead he's going to trip over Sema, so any potential breakaway can't happen. As Outwater finds Ladd across the Wolves zone, and he's going to find Outwater, but Outwater can't handle the pass. But it's back to Ladd at the blue line, who's just going to dump it back in, and he takes out Musty along the way. And Musty with a bit of a shot against Outwater, too. Bit of frustration boiling over, and now he takes a slash at Van Steensel, too, the former first overall pick. Has a bit of a thorn in his side in this game. As Govro upends Boudreau at the blue line. getting a little bit chippy now.
7 games into this rivalry, both the youngsters are starting to figure it out that this is a true Highway 17 rivalry.
Big hit behind the boards on Mania, and it's sent back out to Christopoulos. Christopoulos trying to shoot it in, but he breaks Musty's stick. Check that. Musty checks his stick, and it looks like it's fine. But the puck flutters up, and we get a whistle, stoppage of play.
Yeah, starting to get a little more physical out there as we wind down this first period of play. Maybe some of these youngsters starting to figure out what the rivalry means between these two teams. Paul Christopoulos was one of the more aggressive players here in the first period, really starting to relish in the role that he's developed, playing against the top lines of the opposing players, and just a couple times we've already seen him finishing checks and following through with those hard hits.
Puck won back, and Christopoulos, the man you were just talking about, shoots the puck, but it's wide. Bouchard now just chipping it in behind the Wolves zone. Collins passes it up to Smith. Smith who passes it back to Collins, and Collins going to carry it up out past the red line. Collins just flutters it past Lukin and chases after it. Romani now with the puck behind his net. Over to Tarasevic. Tarasevic trying to chip it off the glass and out. Instead, Bouchard gets it all the way out, and it's back to Asadorian. Asadorian passing it over to Holmes, the former Sault Ste. Marie Greyhound. And they're just going to chip it on down the ice, and it's going to go for icing as Petrov is the first one back.
Good call there by the linesman as Petrov was the first one being back. But a good opportunity awaits the North Bay Battalion as the faceoff coming all the way back inside the Sudbury Wolves zone to the right-hand side of Mitchell Weeks. That's one of the areas that is of current concern for the North Bay Battalion. Jackson coming back, one of the top centermen for the North Bay Battalion, just over 50% on his draws.
And he's going to win that one back to Winslow, who gets it back to Coe, who took over at the blue line. And now to Petrov in the slot. I should say Jackson in the slot, but he fans on the shot, and Coe's taken out in the corner. Asadorian looking to chip it on out. He's going to carry it over the red line and then the blue line into the battalion zone. On the far side, he takes the shot, but DiVincentis in the butterfly, standing tall, no rebounds.
You always question when you hear of a player missing time with a head injury, and Dom DiVincentis missed a couple weeks there due to a hit he took from Niagara forward Daniel Gushin, and nice to see him back and playing strong. He looked really strong against Niagara Thursday night, and I really like how Ulan has put him back in goal tonight this afternoon.
Coe off to the races, has a guy to beat, but he can't quite get past. That is Enea. And Coe takes the shot anyways and gets it down to Weeks, but Weeks is going to stand tall with that one. And no rebounds with that as well. So he's basically looking down at DiVincentis and saying, anything you can do, I can do better.
Yeah, Cole bearing that right into that Sudbury logo, right on the breadbasket of Mitchell Weeks. Exactly that. Both goaltenders. We knew it was going to be a goaltending battle, and this is going to be a low-scoring affair as it's shown so far in this first period.
Minute 36 left in the first period as the Wolves are going to chip it out to Larmand, and Larmand out at the neutral zone loses it to Jackson. Jackson to Petrov, who shoots it up to Coe, and it's off his skates and in on Weeks, who's going to promptly, seeing Brandon Coe, one of the most dangerous players in the league, skating in on him. I'm just going to cover that one up.
Yeah, Brandon Coe sitting at the top of the points, 76 points he has so far. His point per game average now up to 1.69. So if you took that over a year, he'd outscore Justin Brazel's 113 points the year he did it in 18-19.
That's really impressive, especially in 68 games over a full season. Kid's ready to play some hockey, I think.
I think so. It's a good pickup with San Jose doing a great job signing him to that three-year entry-level contract. They're getting a real trooper there.
Konyan now is the goal-scoring line of Konyan, Goyet, and Delic comes out and takes Nelson hard into the boards. McDonald out to Russell. Russell carrying it over the red line. He passes it over to Van Steensel. Van Steensel at the half wall in front to McDonald, but McDonald just fans on it. Just a couple of fan chances, and the Battalion are right back in this game. 1 minute left now in the period. McDonald tries to find Russell in the middle of the ice, but he can't, as it's back to Ross now. Ross skates in front of his goaltender with it, and he's just going to calmly take it behind the net as the Wolves are going to reset and look for a new play.
Almost wonder if McDonald on that opportunity got a slash on his hand as he was waggling his right hand after that missed opportunity.
Nelson chipping it on up to Russell at the Wolves' blue line, but Russell falls over and can't get it. So, it's just right back into the Wolves' zone, and now they're going to look behind the net as Collins is going to set again with 20 seconds now left on the clock up to Delic. Delic's going to chip it in, and the Wolves are going to go for a bit of a change. Christopoulos goes for it in the corner, and he's taken out by Collins, or Goyet, I should say. Ladd now being hounded. Loses it to Goyette. Goyette, the goal scorer. Up to Holmes at the blue line. Larmand over to DiVincentis, but it's blocked in front by Christopoulos. And Larmand's going to get it, and he's going to try and take one last shot, but he can't quite get it before time expires. And now some rough stuff after the first period. And boy, if this is the first 20 minutes of play, imagine what the next 40 minutes are going to be like.
It was a little slow to get things started. Neither team really trying to get an offensive stretch going, but it's gotten physical in the last 7 or 8 minutes. Sudbury Wolves picking up that lone goal, and that's where we end first period as the Sudbury Wolves lead 1-0. Shots on goal, 11-10 in favor of the North Bay Battalion.
Yeah, what a strange period for sure. But yeah, these two teams don't like each other, and the person who's going to take you through the first intermission now, Mr. Bob Coles, along with Derek Lindemann, they're going to tell you how much these two teams don't like each other, I'm sure, at some point. Bob, take it away.
And Courtney, that's the way it should be when North Bay plays Sudbury. You're not supposed to like the other team. That's the way it goes. And great road period for the Sudbury Wolves. They get the only goal. They're playing well defensively. Thought the Battalion were a little flat in that period. Just didn't. They're not hitting the passes tape to tape. They're just missing. They had a good chance there, but the Wolves, I think, were the better team in that period. And we'll go through some of the stats. We'll also bring in. We're going to talk to Ben Long, our intrepid producer and hockey analyst. He's got a lot of hockey to watch, so we'll get his thoughts as well. After one period here, it's 1-0 Sudbury. Around the OHL, Hamilton leading Kingston 2-1 in the late first period. Mississauga and Ottawa, remember Mississauga 5 points ahead of the Battalion. The Steelheads are up 2-0 after one, and Peterborough and Oshawa, the 1-0 Oshawa at home. Usually play at 6:05 on Sunday, but there's a football game around 6:30 tonight, so the folks in Oshawa can enjoy the Generals game and then head home and have their Super Bowl plans. 6:30 kickoff for the Rams and the Bengals. Shots on goal in that first period, as mentioned, 11-10 Battalion. Just one power play. It went to North Bay. They didn't score on it. North Bay won 15 of the 28 faceoffs. The only goal, David Goyette's 17th from Evan Conyon and Nolan Collins at 14:41. And one penalty, Quinton Musty for too many men. He served it at 11-10, and the Wolves did a good job killing that penalty. So, Ben, I want to get at your thoughts, first of all, in that first period. What'd you think?
I think it's a good game. It's a good rivalry that we have here, and we're starting to see it come out. The first few games between the Battalion and Wolves this year, you didn't see that fight that you usually see from rivalry games. We're starting to see it now. We're starting to see Musty play a little chippy with guys, little hacks as they skate by type of thing. We've seen some big hits come from the Battalion too. Christopoulos has been a big one that I've seen. He's finishing a lot of hits. He's flying out there. I've seen him do a couple. He'll pinch in and then back check and be one of the first guys back as well. He's going hard. I like how he's playing this game.
Yeah, the big hit was probably at the in the Sudbury zone by Mitchell Russell behind the net there, but and they're letting them go too, right? They're letting them play.
Yeah, that's the big thing that I'm seeing out there. The refs, there have been a few times where there could have been calls. The Battalion have been benefits of that as a result. There was one play down where DiVincentis had just covered it up, and Russell made sure to let the forward that's standing there know that he's being watched and knocked him down. And I was expecting to see a call come out of that one, but we didn't see one. There's been a couple plays by the Wolves as well where I thought that could be a call. This game might get out of hand if the refs don't watch it, but we'll see how that plays out.
Yeah, apparently you're allowed to cross-check the other team if they try and run your goalie or slash after the goalie has the puck. So a little saying that's okay, but don't do it if don't do it too often. I will call it, right?
Yeah, and you have to wonder what the refs, because right before the game started, the refs went over to the benches. So I don't know if they went over and were saying, we're going to let the game go, but if it gets out of hand, we're going to start calling everything, or maybe it was unrelated to what they're seeing out there tonight. But yeah, I hope the game keeps up. It's exciting hockey to watch this way.
Okay, Ben, and I'll let you get back to your producer work as you queue up our next item and bring in Derek here. Derek, what'd you think in that first period?
I think it was a little slow for the North Bay Battalion. I want to see them come out with a little more jump and life in their step, especially at home, taking on their rivalry Sudbury Wolves. You know you got a 6-game streak going. You won a big game against Mississauga. You don't want to take the Sudbury Wolves lightly. I know they're one of the bottom 2 teams in this division, but you know what? These are points that you need if you want to catch the Mississauga Steelheads. I want to see you come out with more life and maybe push the envelope a little bit.
Okay, Derek, and we're now going to go to the Frontline podcast. This week's guest was North Bay Battalion head coach Ryan Houlihan, being interviewed by our own Courtney Kenning. Let's hear some of that now.
It's another episode of your favorite podcast. Yes, that one this time, the Frontline podcast. I'm Tom Parisi with Courtney Kenny. Our special guest, you may have seen him before in a podcast. Check back with an episode with Adam Dennis. Isaiah is joining us as well today. He's going to check in, see how we do things. And for his 4th tour of duty, but 800th with Courtney, it's head coach of your North Bay Battalion, Ryan Houlihan. Uli, it's good to have you back. Lately, you've been dressing what seems like all of a sudden all the rookies. You're happy to have some of the normal top-line players back?
Yeah, absolutely. And thanks for having me here, guys. It's always a pleasure coming on. And I know everyone says it when they come on, but I'll start it off with just thanking you once again for doing an outstanding job. Believe it or not, you guys are somebody I listen to on my ways into work most days. So you kill some time for me.
That's our best asset. It's on my resume. Time killer, professional.
But yeah, getting to that, I think it's been different, right? It's a unique year in that sense. We knew it was going to be that way. And certainly kind of going through, whether it's the injury bug, the COVID bug, everything in between. I think it's been good. I think it's been good for our group. I think it's been really good for like you said, some of our younger guys getting in the lineup and playing some really good hockey and producing right now. And now, we're sneaking some veterans back in healthy and starting to get over, kind of some of these major injuries.
I, of course, have interviewed you pretty much after every game, so there's going to be a lot of overlap in my questions here, of course, that you've already heard. But when it comes to the injuries and all that stuff, you mentioned how the players have really kind of had this opportunity to take it and run with it and all that stuff. And we've seen it recently with Bouchard being called up and scoring his first, Romani scoring his first, Seema scored his first, Oatwater's got his second as well. So just, your thoughts on those guys that maybe were playing 4th-line minutes, or in Bouchard's case, wasn't even on the team before this stuff happened.
Well, I just think they're starting to take hold of an opportunity and really kind of running with it. We always say it's in every sport, it's in life in general, but when you do have confidence to go succeed at what you want to do, that can really boost things up, and we call it the big boys, so to speak, are always been there since day one in terms of our offense. Now all of a sudden you get those extra goals from those other guys now, and now you're starting to see us kind of putting in 5 goals a game all of a sudden again, which is kind of nice to getting back to that. But yeah, just those guys have really stuck to it. They're trusting in the process and the plan, and you always see with young guys that they start to relish when they get big minutes, when they get some confidence underneath their belt.
We always ask players, how do they know when they've kind of figured it out? They're like aha moment. How do you know?
How do I know when I figured it out, or
when they figured it out? How do you know when they've hit their stride?
It's tricky. Well, first and foremost, just coaching junior hockey, they're not going to hit their stride for many, many years. I think that's the continuous improvement of players. You just kind of see what the older guys are doing this year in terms of, how far Brandon Coe's come, how far Mitch Russell has come. Those are the sort of the older guys that have been in North Bay for a long time. Just look at the evolution of junior hockey. So I think you're just kind of seeing snippets of an Oatwater, a Seema, a Romani, those 16-year-old mainstay guys in the lineup. The growth of them is it's not even tapped in yet, So I think there's still a ways to go, but certainly I'm going to talk as a bit of a coach right now, and coaches want their players to be defensively sound first. And, I think that's always the biggest sort of transition that young players need to make coming into our league. And those guys have done a much better job with it. And because they're doing it now is, they end up having the puck in the offensive zone more, and then their natural skill can take over. So I hope I answered that the best I could. It's a loaded question only because, again, the evolution of junior hockey.
I wanted to ask a bit of an update kind of question. This is actually one I don't think I've ever asked you in the millions of post-game interviews. But now that we've gotten you back on the podcast at this point where the season's at its halfway point, last time we talked, you were just coming into camp after seeing these guys that, you'd heard so much about and done so many Zoom interviews with over the canceled season. What have you liked out of this group to this point? And now that you've seen them on the ice, what has really stood out for you?
This has been such a fun group to work with, and really what we see is a group of guys that absolutely love being together. I've actually probably never been around a group that just the whole collective group of them just love being at the rink. Practice could be over and, all of a sudden there's a couple hours later, they're still hanging around, they're still doing their stuff, and guys are getting to the rink early. I think we've just created a real good buzz and atmosphere that everybody looks forward to coming to the rink. And, I think it stems with obviously right from the top, the leadership, but Adam's done a great job of bringing in guys that are hungry to get better and just good, charismatic personalities. There's a good mixture of guys in that room from young to old too. It's really a collective group that everybody gets along really, really well. And it's been a joy for us to work with them and come to the rink and have fun every day. And then, you see the hard work stemming from that. So that's been the biggest thing for us. We talk about literally every day is how lucky we are to be able to work with this group.
How easy was it to integrate Kyle McDonald and Grayson Ladd and Tarasevich into the whole program? How seamless was that?
Pretty seamless, and again, I give credit to our room, to open up to those guys. I think it did help that all three of them knew some people, in our room. Tarasevich is really good friends with Petrov. That stems back years and years. So, that's going to help him. And then Grayson and Kyle, just being older players in the league, knew of some of our veteran players. And even a little sneaky tidbit, I believe Kyle McDonald and Kyle Jackson, even when they're 13 or 14 years old, lived together and played us. Yeah. Right. and that's something that I didn't know until we brought Kyle in. So that helped, and then obviously there were guys that, we were kind of targeting because of what they can do. And so in terms of our system and structure, we knew that they were going to fit pretty quickly.
How much of a say in trade deadline, what I need, how much of that how much input do you have in the whole process?
Well, again, the credit goes to Adam for asking, not just myself, but our whole entire staff. He really does listen and lets us kind of talk together as a staff. And that's every day, it's literally every day. We have our players on our big whiteboard in our room, and it's our favorite thing to stare at and just talk about our guys and where we are and where we're headed. And it's just continuous. It's always. So, I think it's pretty collective. Obviously, Adam does a tremendous job of fielding the calls and doing what he does best. It's an outstanding job.
Ryan Olahan, the head coach of the North Bay Battalion, this week's guest on the Frontline podcast, hosted by Courtney Kenny and Tom Parisi. And new guest every week, comes down on Wednesdays, so you can check that out. I was interested in talking about younger players, Derek, and how the defensive part of the game is more important when the young guys come here than the offensive part of the game. The offense is going to come, but two benefits, I think, defensively is that you learn to play defense because good defense has such an impact on the game, and the coaches begin to trust you defensively. They'll put you out there more, and the offense, you take advantage of your opportunities, but your defense is what drives the team.
Exactly. And when you're looking at teams that are winning championships, They're very strong defensively. You're not seeing high-scoring teams win games 8-6 anymore like you did back in the 80s. You've got to know how to play a strong defensive system, and that's probably the hardest part of the hockey game to learn. And it's great that you see them trying to develop those strong defensive habits early on. And I know if you listen to more of that podcast, Ryan Houlihan mentions that that's what the NHL teams are asking of their players. They want strong defensive players. When you get to the next level, you got to know those defensive assignments. That's key. And going forward, you got to be a strong defensive player alongside as being able to put the puck in the net.
Okay, Derek, as you get ready for the second period. By the way, if you want to hear these podcasts, just look for the Frontline podcast wherever you get hold of your podcasts. And you can catch Courtney Kenny and Tom Parisi weekly, new one every week. So it comes down on Wednesday. So check that out. Battalion schedule, Wednesday night they play Sudbury on the road. They're back home Friday to host Peterborough. That's the final game before the 500 fan protocol, 1,000 after that, and then a week from today, the Battalion will be on the road, so no home game for a couple of weeks. But here it's 1-0 for the Wolves as the teams are back on the ice for the second period, and here's Courtney and Derek.
Thank you very much, Mr. Coles. Really appreciate you taking us through the first intermission, and Derek as well, as I'm going to give Derek a moment to rest his voice a little bit, as there were a lot of stoppages in play in that first period, so he did have to talk a lot for a color commentator. So, yeah, a bit of an interesting week for the Battalion, playing in Wednesday in Sudbury. I'd be lying to you if I said I wasn't tempted to go down to Sudbury for that game. It's always a good time to take in a game at the Sudbury Community Arena. Maybe not the best place to play, according to the players that we've interviewed on the podcast, but yeah, it's always a fun time to take in a game at the Sudbury Community Arena. I mean, Tom and I took a trip there once just to see the Ice Dogs and Wolves go at it because, well, as you know, doing broadcast, Derek, you're not always just here to watch hockey.
No, and it's always exciting to go to Sudbury. I know we made the trip once this year already to see the Battalion take on the Sudbury Wolves, and the talk whenever you go to Sudbury is the Wolf that comes out whenever the Sudbury Wolves score a goal. They've got the loud horn in behind for the goal horn, and it's an interesting view. When you're up higher than the scoreboard, it's always great to see a game from up so high.
It's a very good angle as they get ready for the first face-off of the period. The Battalion are going left to right, and the Wolves going right to left here, with the Battalion in their greens and the Wolves in their whites, as Jackson wins the puck back to Nelson. Nelson takes it for a skate and passes it over to Winslow. Winslow carrying it up over the neutral zone. He loses the handle on it, but he quickly gets it back. Winslow looking for an option to shoot, gives it to Jackson. Jackson trying to give it to Petrov, but instead Petrov is stripped of the puck. Nelson now batting it up over, and Konyan's going to knock it down, but Winslow picks it up again. Nelson with the puck at the neutral zone, tries to chip it in over the line, and he does get it there as Jackson carries it on into the Wolves zone. Coe with the puck around the net. He shoots it on over to Petrov, but it's too much, so Coe continues to go after it. But it's back behind the net to Petrov. Petrov out front to Coe. Coe can't quite get it on the backhand, so he passes it back to the blue line. Nelson now walking the line. He switches places with Winslow. Nelson taking it in. Nelson with the little chip out front, but he can't get past a blocking Konyan. The Wolves now with possession as Mania takes the puck and skates it up and out of his zone. He's now just going to chip it in, and the Wolves are going to go for a change along with Jackson to complete that first line change, I should say, as the Battalion try to chip it in, and it's going to miss Mitch Russell altogether. And that's going to go for icing. Our first stoppage in play, 1:10 into the second period.
A little bit of change of line matching there for Ryan Houlihan as you see him start the second period with his top line of Jackson, Coe, and Petrov out against the top young guns of the Sudbury Wolves. But after this icing, tired Winslow and Nelson still out there for the North Bay Battalion. Something maybe the Sudbury Wolves can capitalize here as they weren't able to make that change.
Battalion win the face-off back, but they're hounded in their own zone. Russell goes for a skate, and he finds McDonald at the blue line. McDonald chips it up over to Van Steensel, and Van Steensel goes to chase it into the Wolves zone. Van Steensel gets it around to McDonald, who tries to pass it out front to Russell, but Musty's going to block that. Holmes now, the former Greyhound, shoots it on in, and it's going to rim around back to Musty as it gets behind the Battalion net. And they're going to send it out front, but it doesn't get out as Divinchentis makes a stop, and it's over to Collins, and Collins is going to take the shot off the rebound, but DiVincentis is going to stand tall.
Great job by Dom DiVincentis there, making 3 saves back-to-back as he goes to his butterfly and makes a great butterfly push across to his left, preparing for that rebound shot. That's what I really like about him is tracking of those pucks, knowing exactly where the rebounds are, and making sure he gets in position to make that secondary save if necessary.
Ladd's just going to calmly chip it out of his zone on the near side boards. But Asadorian's going to take it back into the Battalion zone, but he loses the handle on it for Outwater. Outwater over to Govro to Ladd. Ladd with it, but he loses the handle and is on to DiVincentis, who's going to play it to Govro. Govro tries to backhand it up to one of his players, but it's going to miss everyone and go all the way down into the Wolves zone with icing waved off as it hits the end boards. Sema with it up to Wakely. Wakely to Sema, who takes a really bad angle shot and misses the net entirely. Now with a foot race for Ladd or Asadorian, the two number 9s on these two teams. And Asadorian's going to get it back to Yandick. And Yandik's going to miss the net with his shot.
Going to get see that third line get out there. Coming out over the boards now. The Houlihan goes back with his top line as the top line of the Wolves come out. So that's an interesting matchup here as the Battalion are willing to go top line against top line here in the second period of play. I really like this matchup as Petrov, Jackson, and Cole can spend a lot of time, and I think they can easily get the Sudbury Wolves hemmed in their own zone after they get out of their own.
Especially since it's a relatively young line for the Wolves. And again, as we mentioned in the first period, they're going to be a dangerous team here in a couple of years as Lucan's stripped of the puck. Goyette now the goal scorer with it in the middle of the ice, but he loses it to Petrov. Petrov gives it up to Jackson. Jackson carrying the puck over the red line. He tries to chip it to Coe, but can't quite get the handle on it. Jackson now at the half wall over to Coe. Coe over to Petrov, but it's thwarted in front. Goyette now with some speed over the blue line, but he loses the handle to Christopoulos as he tries to get it back over to Mania, but Mania can't get it. But instead, in comes Delic with the shot, and DiVincentis with the butterfly save.
Good job by DiVincentis not giving that up. Glorious opportunity. Cole saw Petrov at the side of the net, tried to get it through there, but unfortunately, Liam Ross has a very active stick knocking that out before joining the rush and sending it up the ice as the Sudbury Wolves attack the Battalion with 4 guys leading that rush. DiVincentis again being strong in goal.
And Ross with the shot, but it's blocked by Bouchard, and Bouchard is down into the races. Bouchard with the shot, and it's off Weeks' blocker. Now Romani with it at the blue line. He shovels it out to the neutral zone to Lucan. Lucan to Christopoulos, who's going to shoot it in, but it's going to hit the blocker of Weeks again. Tarasevic chips it on back in. Romani in the corner. He takes a hit, but he stays on the puck. It's given to Tarasevic. Tarasevic skates around the border or the perimeter of the zone, but he gives it away to DeGrazia. But Tarasevic with good foot speed comes back and strips DeGrazia of the puck, or else he might have had a breakaway. Lucan taking the big hit in his zone as the puck's out to Tarasevic. Tarasevic has to be gassed after that effort to Bouchard. Bouchard with another shot, but it misses the net entirely. And DeGrazia is just going to chip it out and out of his zone as the Battalion go for a quick change. Nelson over to Winslow. Winslow looks to chip it up, and he does to McDonald. McDonald is just super strong on that puck. It's really tough to take him off of it. And he's going to chip it on into Romani, who's going to lose it to Weeks in front of the net.
There's one player, is Romani, who has really picked up his game in the absence of Podolou and Arnsby, getting some extended time. He was a player that was early on in and out of the lineup. And you know what? Since he's gotten that opportunity to be an everyday player, he currently has 3 points on the year with 1 goal, 2 assists. He's really improved getting to that everyday minutes.
Winslow with a shot, but it's tipped wide. Nelson with it at the point. Now over to McDonald, who shoots it wide as well. McDonald geared up for a one-timer, and he just missed the net. McDonald loses it to Boudreau. Boudreau carrying it up over to Musty. Musty dangles around Nelson, the two former first overall picks going together for that one. And Musty almost came out on the better on that one. Holmes chasing the puck now back into his own zone.
Good job there by Nelson after getting beat, just reaching behind and stealing that puck back from Musty.
I know going into the season, Nelson said he was very excited to play against Musty. You can see why. McDonald now off looking at some options here as he carries it over and just drops it to net Russell. Russell with the shot and the rebound out into the slot by Weeks. And nobody's there but Musty. Musty with some speed through the neutral zone. Carries it over, and he gives it to McCallum. McCallum in, but he just hits the pad of DiVincentis. Mania now with the puck at the neutral, or at the zone. Oh, my goodness. What a stretch save by Dom DiVincentis. You're going to see that one on the highlight of the night. McCallum carrying the puck around. McCallum looking to slap it, but he hits the foot of McDonald instead. Nelson chasing after, but Russell gets it in the corner instead. Now the Battalion have possession as Ladd looks to start the rush. He tries to get over the neutral zone, but he can't quite beat Anania. Ladd carrying it over into the Wolves zone, but he's stripped of the puck himself. And it looks like we're going to get a penalty call here.
Hooking call going against the Sudbury Wolves, as it's the young forward for the Sudbury Wolves, Mania, going to the penalty, Koinian going to the penalty box for the Wolves. This is going to be North Bay Battalion's second opportunity of the afternoon on the power play. Currently sitting second in the OHL standings. That's 1 point. What's where they've had a strong point of late, as they've really moved up in the power play standings. This North Bay Battalion power play brought to you by the Noah Strong Foundation. We'll have some future information coming your way very shortly about what they're doing in the community.
DiVincentis looking to play the puck behind his net, and he finally does, over to Nelson. Nelson skates it up, but he passes it back to Russell. Russell trying to get it over to Coe, but instead it's just going to flutter through, and DeGrazia is off on a shorthanded chance. DeGrazia shoots it, but it's well wide of the net. Jackson now looking for Coe. Coe in on alone. Brandon Coe with the shot, and Mitchell Weeks with the save on the blocker hand.
That's got to be a scary feeling when you see one of the top goal scorers in the league bearing down on you 1-0.
Absolutely. I wouldn't want to be in Mitchell Weeks' situation on that, but he stands tall. Nelson carrying the puck through the neutral zone, gives it to Russell. Russell's going to shovel it in for Nelson to chase, and it's going to go all the way around the boards for Petrov, but the Wolves are going to be first to it, and they're going to chip it on down. DiVincentis out to play the puck. Puck now back to Russell at the neutral zone, but he loses a handle on it, and Boudreau just shoots it on back into the Battalion zone.
A lot of chances so far, but no sustained pressure really by the Battalion on this power play, as they've killed off already the first minute 10.
Coe carrying the puck in. He finds Jackson. Jackson over to Russell, and tries to find Coe in front of the net, who tips it, but it just hits the side of the net. Now the Wolves with a bit of a 2-on-1 developing. Goyette over in front, but he can't quite find his man.
Great stick there by Grayson Ladd, breaking out that 2-on-1 opportunity.
He had Yandick, but Yandick couldn't quite get it, as you mentioned. Grayson Ladd breaking up that opportunity. With 23 seconds now left on the power play, McDonald's going to skate it into the Wolves zone. McDonald dipsy doodles around one Wolves defender, but he loses it in the corner. Now from his knees, he's just going to send it all back down and help the Wolves out a little bit as the puck goes all the way down into their zone. DiVincentis out to play it. He leaves it for Ladd. Ladd shakes the defender coming after him, and he gives it to Winslow. Winslow off to Wakely. Wakely tries to find McDonald, but he can't, so Wakely's just going to chase it, and that'll do it for the power play. Wakely skating around the zone, tries to come out and get a shot off, but it hits a couple of sticks in front instead. Ladd tries to shoot it on in, but he can't. Hits McCallum in the neutral zone. McCallum now brings it into his own zone. McCallum's still with the puck, and he's going to chip it on in and chase after it against Winslow. Winslow's going to box him out, but it's now a little bit of a scrum there as McCallum's taken down, but no call. McDonald's going to find Van Steensel, who almost loses it, but instead he gets the puck, but he eventually loses it. And now he's strong-armed down to the ice, almost into the goal, so that's the closest the Battalion have gotten the puck into the net, or something into the net, I should say, is Van Steensel's body. But they're going to go back on the power play here, Derek.
This time it's Mania going to the penalty box. 2 minutes for high sticking as he gets his stick up in the face of the Battalion player trying to go around. The last power play, they had some glorious opportunities, just no real puck possession inside the Sudbury Wolves territory, even though they had some glorious opportunities. One of the better, though, was that 2-on-1 going the other way by the Sudbury Wolves.
Absolutely, with Jackson having the puck in the corner, gives it to Coe. Coe with the shot, and Weeks with the pad save. Petrov back behind the net to Russell. Russell up to Petrov. Petrov looking for his running mate Coe, but instead he's going to pass it back to Nelson. Nelson's going to get it to Coe. Coe over to Petrov, who shoots, and what a save by Weeks, coming east to west, and what a blocker save. You know, that first period he looked to be handcuffed a lot on the blocker hand side, but this period seems to be a strong suit so far.
I think Petrov wasn't happy with how much he got on it. It looked like he fanned on a little bit as it fluttered towards, allowing Weeks to make a stronger push to get away from his right. But that's that area. You want to make that cross-seam pass. Petrov's been known to score quite a few from that area, as we've seen already this year, just not this time.
Like his fellow countryman, Alex Ovechkin, Nelson over to Coe. Coe with the toe drag. He shoots it on net, but Wakely's going to stop it. Nelson winds up and shoots it, but it's blocked in front. Jackson back to Nelson. Nelson's going to stop it. He looks for a few options. Nelson just a bit of a spinorama over to Petrov. Petrov's going to shoot it to Jackson, but Weeks gets it. Coe with the third chance, but he's going to save it as well.
Jackson just not able to elevate that high enough to get it over top of sprawling Weeks.
Coe carrying the puck to the half wall. He's going to pass it back to Nelson. Nelson looking for some options. He shoots it, but Russell tips it wide. Petrov now at the far side boards. Petrov back to Nelson with a minute left on this power play opportunity. Nelson's going to pass it out in front. He's going to find Jackson, but he can't bury it. Nelson back over to Petrov on the far side. Petrov to Jackson, who's going to shoot it, and it's going to hit Weeks' arm and off to the back of the net, or I should say back of the boards. And now the Wolves are going to look to get it out with Collins leading the way, and he's just going to chip it down. 41 seconds remaining as we're going to see a change of power play units.
That entire first minute 15 was all spent in the Wolves' territory, something that created a lot of good scoring chances, but Weeks coming up being the best penalty killer so far.
Coe with it at the near side boards with a bit of a half and half between the first and the second unit. Petrov goes for a skate with it. He's going to pass it over to Ladd. Ladd, who's a bit of a pass-first guy, passes it back to Winslow. Winslow over to Coe. Coe's going to try and shoot it, but instead that's going to be blocked in front by Peyton Robinson, who is going to shoot the puck all the way down to DiVincentis. 8 seconds remaining on that power play.
Halfway mark of this second period. Shots now 18-15 for the Battalion.
Wakely carries in as the power play expires. He's just going to be content to carry it all the way around the Wolves' net, and he's going to chip it back behind the board, or at the end boards behind the net, I should say. Van Steensel stopping it with McDonald out front to Wakely, but Wakely can't get a handle on it. Mania now over to DeGrazia. DeGrazia tries to find Mania, but Mania can't get a handle on it in front of DiVincentis. Instead, Van Steensel now being hounded, gets it up to Ladd at the neutral zone. Ladd's going to carry it in and just dump and chase it. Wakely on the far side boards picks it up, and he's just going to send it back around the Wolves zone.
Tired unit there by the Battalion, just getting a change in, allowing the Wolves to break out.
Anania chips it up, and Christopoulos now away with it. And he's going to find Sema, but instead, Anania's going to get it. But now Romani with it up to Outwater. Outwater over to Romani, but it's stopped in front by Leman, or Farhand, I should say, a Sudbury native. Asadorian now carrying it over the neutral zone. Going to find Musty. Musty's going to carry it through the middle of the zone, and he's going to get a good shot away on DiVincentis, who's going to stand tall. Anania with a shot in, but it's blocked in front by Farhand. Asadorian now losing the handle on it, and Outwater's away. But Outwater gets taken, almost double-teamed, and him and Musty have been going at it. And Musty gets quite the slash on the back of his calves. And we mentioned that in the first, that Musty's looked like he's got a thorn in his side all game, and now he goes after Outwater, who's hobbling off with the trainer, Andrew Satchku.
Yeah, you've seen Musty giving a couple other shots beforehand. A little bit of back and forth there, shots between Outwater and Musty. 2021 draft picks. Musty initiated, but the referee's catching the two-hander retaliation as Musty delivering that third shot across the back of the calves of Outwater as he's trying to stretch things out in behind the Battalion bench as Ullahan wants to get a clarification on this penalty call.
I think he's looking for 5 minutes.
The referee's got the tablet out now, so this is one of those opportunities where they get the chance to review the call as there's 8:28 remaining and a very vital call coming up here if it is a 5-minute major.
Yeah, especially with the Battalion power play buzzing on that last opportunity. But we'll see what happens here. I remember earlier in the season when they had a 7-minute power play, but it looks like the play is under review right now. As you mentioned, Musty and Outwater, who's behind the bench now, trying to look like he's trying to walk it off. Musty went first overall. Outwater went 11th to the Battalion. And it was a snake draft, of course, so it was kind of a little bit of a weird setup. So the Battalion were always drafting in the middle of the round. But, the Wolves with the first overall selection after the draft lottery, taking Quentin Musty.
Yeah, you never know when you have that snake draft format, whether you benefit by being in the top or at the end getting back-to-back picks in every second round, or if you're in the middle where you just get a pick every 20th. But here we see a very deliberate two-hander to the back of Owen Outwaters. We get a look at it again on the screen here in Memorial Gardens, and this is one of the great things that has come into the OHL is the ability for referees to review and make a real good decision based on what was on the ice in case they missed anything. So we're going to see as the referees hand back the tablet to the officials in the penalty box area.
Outwater back on the bench. He comes out for a few skates.
And the Musty will be leaving this game, so we will see penalty calls, but Outwater now coming across, so he will also be assessed a 2-minute penalty. Musty receiving 5 minutes for that two-handed slash, as the referee is explaining it now to Liam Ross, the captain of the Sudbury Wolves.
It looks like Ryan wants them to come over too. Ryan Houlihan, he's motioning for them to come over. He's coming right down to the ice level of the bench, so you know. In years past when we'd see that happen, it was a little bit more animated, but Ryan just calmly coming down and looking for a definition. As you mentioned, yes, there is 5 minutes up on the board now, and you have to think a suspension might come from that as well.
Well, it will definitely be reviewed by the head officials with the OHL. Sudbury is going to have to send a player across the ice to serve that penalty, and we're going to come to the halfway point here and take the media timeout. 8:28 remaining in the second period of play. Coming up in the second intermission, we'll be rejoined by Bob Coles as he's going to break down what he saw in this second period of play, take a rundown of the other games going on around on this Super Bowl Sunday here in the OHL. And then we'll have a special video presentation looking at U16 forward, North Bay Trapper, Caleb Dawson, as he is one of the top forwards eligible to go in this year's OHL draft. Courtney, just coming back out of the break, do you think this is going to add anything and see a little bit more of this physicality as the second half of the game goes on?
Well, it's going to be very interesting to watch for sure, because it was very physical before, but one of the guys that was kind of doing the dirty stuff of it was Quentin Musty, who's now been thrown out of the game. As I mentioned in the first period, he seemed to have a bit of a thorn in his side. And Ben mentioned during the intermission, these rookies are starting to really not like each other. So, yeah, it's a little bit interesting to see what's going to happen. Maybe things slow down a little bit, but the Battalion are going to get a 3-minute power play out of this, as Outwater's going to be in there. Or sorry.
No, 3 minutes.
Yeah,
You're right,
3 minutes.
Courtney. Your math is right. In 2 minutes. So what's going to happen is we're going to see 4-on-4 action.
Producer Ben's screwing me up over here.
So what we're going to see is 4-on-4 action for the first 2 minutes. Once the penalty to Outwater expires in that 2 minutes, the Battalion will get a 5-on-4 if nothing else happens for the final 3 minutes of that Musty Major.
And it's sent in as Goyette goes after it into the Battalion zone. And Winslow now has it on the half boards on the far side, but it's out front to DiVincentis, who's just going to grab it with a stick and hop down and cover it up.
Just a special birthday wish to Mark Lyons. Saw it coming across the board. I got to meet the family a few years ago. What a great family, him and Leslie, raising their two children. They were in Ottawa yesterday to take on the Boston Bruins game, as Mark is a big Boston Bruins fan. So happy birthday again, Mark. Their son, Jack Lyons, probably one of the biggest North Bay Battalion fans here. He wears the jersey, excited to come every game here, loves meeting the players, and the players really taking a special time to build those bonds with Jack Lyons. Again, happy birthday, Mark.
Sounds like a good guy, except for he cheers for the wrong team.
Yeah, you know what? You got to give him one there. One bad mark against him, I guess.
One bad mark against Mark as Nelson carries the puck through the neutral zone. He's going to skate it back to his own blue line. Look for the team to reset as he hands it off to Jackson. Jackson thought to pass it back to Winslow, but he lost the handle, but eventually he gets up there. Winslow's going to carry it on up and try to get around Ross, but he's going to carry it around the Wolves zone, or back of the boards anyways. Coe quickly over to Nelson. Nelson tries to get it back to Coe, but it's going to hit a stick in front as Goyette's now off with Konyan. Goyette back to Ross. Ross takes the shot, and I don't know if it was off Nelson's leg, but it missed the net. Konyan behind the net to Goyette. Goyette's going to find the back of the net, and that's 2 goals for David Goyette in this one. 7:22 remaining in the second period.
Goyette picking up his second of the game. That's going to give him 18 on the season. Kind of questionable whether or not that really went in or not, but it looks like the referee right there. But Goyette, Johnny on the spot, as the puck bounced out from the corner. Both defensemen went in below the goal line and nobody back there to pick up the back check as Goyette lots of time to beat Devin Santos, giving the Sudbury Wolves a 2-0 lead.
Well, you have to think the Battalion have to score on one of these chances at some point. They've had the better chances in this game so far, but they find themselves down 2-0 where it counts. Ladd's going to carry it over the neutral zone. He loses the handle on it, and he's going to turn back towards his own zone and pass it to Christopoulos. Christopoulos now being chased by Yandek. Christopoulos, though, carries it on up into the Wolves zone. Leaves it for McDonald. McDonald skates it back out to the neutral zone. McDonald looking to gain the zone entry, and he does, and he's going to shoot it on Weeks, who passes it up to Wakely. And Wakely with a great shot, but he can't solve Mitchell Weeks. Looks like a high stick call now being made on the ice.
Wakely touching the puck with a high stick, and then the next one to play it there as Wakely have a glorious opportunity on that rebound that came way out off the pad of Mitchell Weeks. But again, Mitchell Weeks looking really good on his lateral movement as he goes side to side there, pushing with his left pad to get across to easily make that save off a Dale and Wakely stick.
Yeah, what a great save for Mitchell Weeks as 19 seconds remain on the 4-on-4 before the Battalion get a 3-minute power play. Play is back to Ladd in his own zone. Ladd passes up to Nelson, who chips it off his skates and looks to go up the ice, but he's going to skate back around into his own zone as he chips it up to Petrov. Petrov now out there with Russell. Petrov carries it out front, and he's going to send it on net, but it's going to miss the net. Russell now out there, back to Petrov. Petrov behind the net. Looks to set up, and he tries to find Jackson up front, but he's fanned. Russell now carries it around. And the Battalion are now on the power play for the next 2 minutes and 44 seconds. Coe in the corner. Tries to find Nelson at the point, which he does. Nelson over to Petrov. Petrov back over to Nelson. Nelson's going to take the shot, and it's hard off Weeks, but the big rebound's out to Jackson, who's going to pass it over to Petrov, who gives it to Russell, and over to Coe, but Coe can't handle it. Coe being harassed in the corner to Jackson. Jackson back to Coe. Coe back to the point of Nelson. Nelson's just going to walk the line a little bit before he passes it back to Coe. Coe to Jackson in the corner, and he's out front to Nelson. 2 minutes remaining left on this power play. Coe over to Petrov, but it's too hot for Petrov to handle. Petrov back to Nelson. Nelson looks to take the shot, and he does, but it's blocked by Weeks. Nelson over to Coe. Coe looks to take the shot, but is blocked in front by Anania. Petrov at the line. Back to Russell. Russell being hugged against the boards by two Wolves who try to get it out, but they can't. Russell back with the puck. He's going to send it in for Jackson. Jackson taking it into the boards. Back to Russell. Russell out front tries to carry it out front to Weeks, but instead the Wolves are going to get it. 1:35 left on the power play. And this is a glorious chance for the Battalion to get back into the game with 5 minutes left on the board, but they just haven't been able to find Weeks or get a goal past Weeks yet. Petrov to Russell. Russell on the far side. Carries it in to Petrov, who tries to get a quick pass to Coe. And it's going to find the neutral zone as it looks like the Battalion are going to go for a quick change. Nelson up to Coe. Coe to the neutral zone. Coe's going to carry it in. And he's going to drop it for McDonald, who's going to pass it back into Coe. Coe loses the handle on it, and he falls over. And minute left on the power play. 4:25 left in the period. DeVincentis is going to play it as the puck was sent down to the Battalion zone. Winslow looking to get things started again. Pass it up to Wakely. Lots of frustration on the Battalion bench right now, as you can hear in the Gardens. Van Steensel back to Ladd. Over to McDonald. McDonald back to Ladd, the Windsor connection. Ladd's going to pass it on up to Van Steensel. Van Steensel back to Ladd, who's going to try and get McDonald, but McCallum's going to get an active stick in there. He's going to pass it to Goyette. Goyette's carrying it into the Battalion zone. He's just going to flutter it in onto the net, but instead it's going to hit a glove in front and go into the corner. 20 seconds now remain on the power play. Ladd looking to set up. He's going to pass it back to Winslow. Winslow up to Ladd, who's going to pass it back to Wakely. Wakely up to Van Steensel. Van Steensel taking in the boards, but Wakely gets it loose. Wakely looking for someone in front, but McDonald is the only one there who carries it into the corner. And McDonald's going to shoot it, but it's going to go out of play.
And with this penalty expiring, the Battalion are 0 for 5 on the power play so far this afternoon. Getting a lot of good chances, a lot of puck movement around the outside. But when they get into that shooting lane, numerous times we see Nelson with the puck at the top of the blue line right dead center. but nobody in front. There's no traffic in front of Mitchell Weeks, allowing him to see everything. And when he gets that opportunity to track pucks, he's not making mistakes with saves tonight.
Yeah, you can't say the refs have been against the Battalion in this one. Very heavily favoring the Battalion so far. It's just that special teams is not going to be sitting at second for very long. Bouchard chips the puck into the end boards. Bouchard plays it to, or Weeks gets it, and he leaves it for Holmes. Holmes looking around, finds an option in Robinson, and the puck is up to Konyan, but Konyan loses the handle on it. Christopoulos now tries to shoot it up to Romani, but it's off the back of his skate. Sema playing the body, or Lucan playing the body, I should say, gives it up to Delic. Delic looking for an option out front, but he can't quite get past Romani. Lucan with it, tries to chip it along the boards, and it was chipped up to Smith. Lucan rims it around, but it's right back out to Anania, and he's going to leave the puck for Tarasevic. Tarasevic carrying it over, tries to take the shot, but is blocked in front by Holmes. And the Wolves turn around quickly. Konyan now trying to get the puck, but instead is too far ahead, and Nelson picks it up. Nelson looking to take it for a skate. Nelson with some speed over the neutral zone. He loses it at the Wolves' blue line, and the puck sent back as Outwater falls. And Boudreau and him kind of exchange some words on the ice. Nelson chipping it up to Outwater. Outwater losing it. And it's back into the corner behind the Battalion zone, or behind the Battalion net. Wakely leaving it for Govro. Govro looking for the up ice pass. Outwater falling down to one knee, just chips it on down into the Wolves zone. Minute 44 left in the second period. Puck is chipped out to Boudreau. Boudreau tries to find one of his guys up in the Battalion zone, but instead Govro gets a glove on it, just enough to knock it away. Anania passing it on up to Boudreau, and the puck's back into the Wolves zone before you know it. Mania skating around his end boards. Over to Anania. DeGrazia is now going to pick it up, the former Rayside Balfour Canadian in the NOJHL. Jackson carrying it over, and he's going to take a quick shot on Weeks, and Weeks, like he has all game, standing tall. 23-17 are the shots. Minute 10 left in the second.
And like I said, even on the power play, when you're playing 5-on-5, I want to see the Battalion starting to drive the net, going to the net, looking for rebounds. Let's get some havoc in front of Mitchell Weeks. Make it hard for him to see those shots, and maybe get a greasy one, punching in a rebound or even tipping a puck past them.
McCallum now with the puck over in his far side zone as Petrov's going to keep the line. Jackson with it, looking across to Petrov, but he finds Winslow. Winslow to Petrov. Back to Coe. Jackson's going to get it behind the net, and he's going to fan on his pass out front to McCallum. McCallum to DeGrazia, and McCallum's now going to carry it up. McCallum with some room. He's going to shoot it on in, and it's going to go high over Dom's net. McCallum getting the puck at the far side half wall. Petrov picking it up with 35 seconds left on the clock. Coe looking for some options, looking to get around Ross, but Ross instead rubs him out against the board. Jackson behind the net to Petrov. Petrov with a quick turnaround, trying to find Coe in front, but he can't, as he's taken into the boards. And Coe with the quick shot, the one-time shot. It's going to hit Weeks' blocker side or blocker hand and not go very farther, as Christopoulos turning around, getting a shot from the face-off circle. But again, Weeks standing tall.
Yeah, he's been very solid in his fundamentals of his goaltending position tonight, staying really square to the shooters as he just did there off of the stick of Christopoulos. No room for him, and it just absorbing all of those pucks that are coming towards him, especially that are going to find that Sudbury Wolves logo sitting dead center of the jersey.
Yeah, pretty easy to make saves when it's right dead center in your chest, Derek? Anyways, the Battalion with 8 seconds left, and the Wolves are going to chip it into DiVincentis. DiVincentis plays around to Van Steensel, and that's about going to do it with that scrum against the boards. And that is the end of the second period. So disappointing results for the Battalion, who find themselves down 2-0, but they've had the better chances. Now it's just a matter of burying them. And we're going to turn things over to you, Derek, and Mr. Bob Coles for the second intermission.
Thank you very much, Courtney. And a somewhat flat performance by the North Bay Battalion, I think, is the best way to describe this. But give the Wolves credit. Their penalty killing has been really good. Mitchell Weeks has been solid in net, and the Wolves are full marks for the 2-0 lead. And how about the Wolves penalty killing in this one? North Bay's power play unit has been out a lot, yet they've failed to take advantage. 1 goal in that period, and 1 goal in the first period, so it's 2-0 Wolves. Shots on goal, 15-7 Battalion, 26-17 North Bay overall. Sudbury, as mentioned, 0 for 4, or North Bay, as mentioned, 0 for 4 in the power play. Sudbury is yet to have a power play, so we may get some North Bay shorthanded situations in the third period. Faceoffs won 25-19 for or 26-19 for the Battalion. The 2 goals, both off the stick of David Goyette, one each period. His second one, 18th of the year, from Kanyan and Liam Ross at 12:38 of the second. Penalties in that period: Kanyan for hooking for Sudbury at 5:31. Matthew Mania for high sticking at 8:09. Quentin Musty got the 5 in a game for slashing at 11:32. And Owen Outwater precipitated that, I suppose, with because he got 2 minutes as well, not as aggressive on the slash, and that's why Outwater's still in the game. So it's 2-0 Wolves after 2. We'll get comments in a moment from Derek and Ben. Kingston out of town is leading Hamilton 4-2. That's late second period. Also, Mississauga 3-0 ahead of Ottawa after 2, and Peterborough trailing Oshawa 3-1 after 2 periods of play. Let's bring in Ben Long. Ben, I mentioned at the North Bay power play unit, they've been out a lot, and the Sudbury's managed to stem the tide, and some timely goal scoring as well. So what do you make of that second period?
So the big thing with the second period was something that Derek had mentioned during the call of the game. They're just not getting the traffic in front of Weeks to really cause some problems. With goalies at this level, if you're giving them clear view of shots from, top of the circles out, they're going to make that save every time. He's playing great positionally, and everything's just hitting him in the chest, and he's holding it. Although they're doing, pretty good on the shot board, they're not getting great shots on them. They're not making a move across a lot. Petrov's had a few one-timers on those cross-ice passes, but for the most part, it's been, bad angle, bad distance shots right at him, not causing a lot of problems for him. And then they've taken advantage of their few chances to put the puck in the net twice now, with the dangerous lead to have, because we'll see if the Battalion can manage to, rally in their room and come out fighting.
Derek, to me, the big story is the North Bay number 2 power play in the OHL. Whether it's because Sudbury penalty killing today or North Bay's ineffectiveness with the man advantage. I notice they let the co-group on prolonged periods and unable to really get any sustained pressure, right? Again, like Ben says, not a guy in front, but do you attribute that to Sudbury's penalty killing or North Bay's power play inefficiency that period?
I think it's more the North Bay Battalion power play. Sudbury plays a very lackadaisical, smaller box. They like to keep the Battalion outside. They're not allowing the Battalion to get inside that home plate area that goes from the top of the circle through the 2 dots, and from the 2 dots going into the goal crease. They like to call that's the home plate area of the offensive zone. That's where you want the majority of your shots. Sudbury's just not allowing them to get set up in there. They got very active sticks. They're blocking that cross-ice pass. Petrov not really getting much on that one-timer when he does get those shots from there. And the traffic, it's like Jackson and Russell are parting the seas in front and allowing Weeks to see that shot that's coming in from the point from Ty Nelson. They got to get that traffic. They got to get a greasy goal. I want to see them drive to the net more and just create those opportunities. You know what? Good job passing. You can pass all day long, but if you're not getting that traffic, you're not going to be scoring goals.
And that's the intensity part of the game, and we've seen it offensively and defensively for North Bay. Second in the league at 25.8% with a man advantage. Sudbury 15th killing penalties at 77.1%. So we thank Derek Lindemann for pointing that out on the whiteboard here. So we can pass that information on. And but it's 2-0 Wolves. They've got to be pleased. We'll hear more from the guys later in the intermission. But of course, we've been presenting the Future Stars, the North Bay Trappers, U16, and Chris Dawson of Dostar Video voices these for us, and a little close to home with this one as we point out and feature Caleb Dawson, his son.
I just have to say, thankfully on this one, Bob, I just have to say, thankfully it's not Chris voicing it, though. He did find an impartial third party for this video.
Oh, okay. My mistake. Go ahead.
At 6 foot and 155 pounds, Caleb Dawson is a solid two-way forward that can play all three forward positions.
There's a goal.
When he's in alone, he's been lethal against U18 and U16 netminders. It's those hands and his two-way game that Caleb Dawson is hoping will get him noticed with the 2022 OHL priority selection approaching.
I think my best asset, I think I have good hands and tight, being able to score like on breakaways and tight, and I think I play a pretty good two-way game out there. I kill penalties, and I just try to have an active stick all the time and take away lanes. And I think I see the ice well too, trying to find my open teammates and see the ice well.
Dawson believes he's a true student of the game, as he's lived at the hockey rink all of his life. He's the son of a junior A hockey general manager and grandson of a well-respected hockey scout.
Yeah, it was good having hockey around me all the time, and having my dad and my grandpa giving me advice on the game and overall making me a better player.
Dawson takes pride in being in the right position when it comes to defending.
Yeah, I think I've over the years I've been getting better at playing away from the puck and just knowing what kind of they're gonna do. Yeah, it's frustrating, obviously, letting a goal, and if it's your responsibility, it's even more frustrating if you left your guy in the slot or if they score on the power play. It's frustrating.
Dawson says he worked hard during the pandemic to get both quicker and stronger.
Yeah, during the pandemic, I just tried to stay active and not be sitting around and trying to work out often during the pandemic. And during the summer, I want to mention that Logan Baker and Rob Graham really helped me during the summer and made me stronger and overall a better player.
Dawson hopes to continue to get better as he strives to become a complete player.
I think I pass to my teammates well. I communicate with them well. I communicate with my defense when they have the puck behind the net and let them know if I'm open or not. And I tell them about my two-way game and how I play a good defensive game too.
This has been a Dostar Video Scouting presentation.
And we thank Dostar Video for that. And, of course, Caleb, the pride and joy of Chris and Leanne. And, Chris, of course, the general manager of the Powassan Voodoos, if you don't know. And so hockey is born and bred in the Dawson household, from grandfather to son and now to grandson. And we wish Caleb all the best as he continues his time with the Trappers, and who knows what awaits him down the road, Derek.
Yeah, Caleb, he's an all-around player, and what really struck me was his creativity in the offensive zone. I've had the opportunity to see and watch Caleb grow and play his hockey. In 17 games this year with the U16 Trappers in the Great North Midget League, he has 12 points, 6 assists and goals. So it just shows that he's not a one goal scorer trick pony. He's been growing and getting stronger, and it's just that creativity and the willingness to try things, to keep opponents on their toes, and just the unpredictability of him. That's what makes him a strong player, and he's so strong, being always on the right side of the puck in the defensive zone. He's got a bright future, whether it be in the OHL or the Noj, wherever he plays, good things are going to follow him.
And I think he gets a lot of that drive from his folks, and Chris, I know, is busy with the Voodoos and busy with Beta Day and does great work. So we wish Caleb the best of success. Let's talk third period coming up. We'll bring in Ben here. And, my friend Ben, who's setting up our features and also giving some insight on the game. What are you expecting in the third period from North Bay?
Not sure what I'm expecting, but I'm sure in the room they're being told, we need to see more fight out of you. We need to see you more get into the dirty places. We need to see causing some havoc in front of the net. They haven't been playing poorly overall, just the way they're playing. We're getting good effort. We're seeing some good back checking. They're just not getting to the net. And I think that's probably the big thing that they're hearing out there is that that's what they got to start doing this period. So I would expect to see at least a little bit more of that going on. We'll see what penalties allow. If they get, keeps going the way going, they might get a couple more power plays in. See if they can keep their discipline and not take any shorthanded calls. That's what I think we'll probably see out of them.
Okay, Ben and Derek, Sudbury, they're going to be pretty pleased at this point. They're probably expecting a couple of power plays, right, in the third period. They've been at the short end of the whistle, so they've got to feel pretty good about themselves going into the final 20 here.
Yeah, they played a solid road game here in the first 40 minutes of play, leading 2-0. You know it's the third game in 3 nights, losing that hard-fought battle against Niagara on Friday before going down the Barrie to beat the Barrie Colts yesterday. But on that penalty front, it's 4 penalties basically to none for the Sudbury Wolves, even though there was that one call to Owen Oatwater at the same time as Musty. But when you talk to referees, it's not about equaling up penalties on the scoreboard. They don't really know what's happening in the penalty front, but as you and I know, that when you look closely at game sheets, it's usually pretty close in that penalty area. And I think if you're North Bay, you got to be careful not to get that next penalty. That next goal is going to be key, whether it be that third one for the Sudbury Wolves or that North Bay Battalion one to cut the lead to 1-0 or to 1 goal, 2-1. You don't want to be that guy that puts the North Bay Battalion short a man here, knowing where the penalty situation goes leading into that third period.
Okay, a couple of first-round picks. Quentin Musty and Owen Oatwater getting at it today. Musty getting 5 in a game for slashing, Oatwater 2 for slashing on the same sequence. So they're going to be up against each other a few more times in their OHL careers. Don't forget, schedule-wise, the Battalion will play Sudbury again on Wednesday night, this time in Sudbury. And then Friday night they're here for Peterborough, and that's their last game for a bit. And then the protocols will change after that. And then a week from today they'll be in Ottawa, and then they'll be on the road for a week. So no home games March 3rd. So we'll have the Friday night game here on your broadcast here from Memorial Gardens, your game day broadcast. And then March the 3rd, we'll be back for the Sudbury Wolves. Will be the visitor on that night. Again, it's 2-0 Sudbury after 2 periods of play. The Olympics, Ben, I want to get Ben's comment on the Olympics. Update the schedule. Canada defeated China today to advance to the qualification round. Everyone gets advances, but they didn't make the top 4, so they're not through to the quarterfinals yet. They're going to have to beat China. If they win that game, they'll play Sweden. The women play 11 tonight in the semifinals, with the winner of that game against Switzerland to advance to the gold medal game on Wednesday night. So what's your comment so far on what you've seen?
Well, the first thing is I saw a funny headline. I just was opening up my phone earlier, and news flash. A Florida man, and usually when you see a headline starts with a Florida man, you expect it to be some sort of crazy news story. But it was a Florida man scores third period goal to beat Canada. So I don't know if that really counts as a crazy story. I was kind of surprised to see that. But I also didn't recognize the name of the guy. Obviously, if you're playing Olympic-level hockey, you've been around, you're a successful player. But the fact that there's no NHL players playing this year really kind of changes it for us as spectators.
Well, yeah, Derek, and it's going to be, and Courtney, it's going to be interesting to see what, because there really isn't, like Ben says, no NHL players. So it's actually going to be the team that outworks the other team, which is going to win the majority of games. That's why we've seen Denmark win 2 out of their 3 games. Russia having trouble at times, only scoring a goal against Switzerland. So it's going to be that kind of event, and we look forward to more excitement again. The women play at 11 tonight against Switzerland, and the men will play Tuesday morning against China once again in the qualification round. And if they win that game, they'll play Wednesday against Sweden in the quarterfinals. So the teams are on the ice getting ready for the third period. And we will throw it to the man who are going to call it for you, Courtney and Derek.
Thank you very much, Mr. Coles. And as you mentioned in the intermission, yes, a big, huge shout out to Caleb Dawson and Chris Dawson from Dawstar Videos for sending along that video. And Caleb, I just have to say, if you're listening to this for whatever reason right now, cut the hair, buddy. We got to cut the hair. It's time. Derek, what do you think of hockey flows?
They suit some people. It looks good under a hockey helmet when you can see it flowing out of the back of it. When it's under a toque like it was there, Caleb, I'm not too sure, but good for you. I don't think we up here are going to have hair like that anytime soon.
No, my problem is if I let it go any for even over a month, it gets unruly and curly. So I'm not even going to try. And you know what? Caleb's a lot better at hockey than me, so I got to take my shots where I can, and that's where I'm taking it. So, yes, huge shout out to Caleb Dawson. The Battalion are down 2-0 heading into the third period with a couple of seconds left before puck drop. 26-17 are the shots for the Battalion over the Wolves. But where it matters most, Derek, is 2-0 for the Wolves.
Yeah, both of those goals coming off of the sensational rookie David Goyette. He's currently ranked in around the 100th position of the upcoming NHL draft. So certainly you're going to see his name come up again when the NHL draft comes around, being called out by one team in the NHL, as he's highly touted to go this year's upcoming draft, along with Ty Nelson, the top-ranked North Bay Battalion, coming in. He's currently the third-ranked OHL player in the rankings right now.
And we're underway with the Wolves, this time going left to right and the Battalion going right to left. As my buddy Tom Parisi used to say on his Country 600 CKAT broadcast, the puck is into the Battalion zone. Kyle Jackson has the handle on it. He tries to find Brandon Coe across the ice, but instead it finds Ty Nelson. Nelson chips it up to Petrov, who sends it in, and Weeks look to play it. But again, when you see that imposing figure like Brandon Coe coming in on you, you're probably going to cover it up.
Yeah, I don't know if you got I know you got to see the opportunity of that penalty shot, though, on Friday. The way he came in so slow, got Joe Ranger to bite early, go down for the poke check. He just pulled it back and flipped it over. And when you see that type of talent coming in, you just never know which of his many moves is going to come out of his sleeve at that time. And more than likely, he's going to find the back of the net. But Weeks doing an excellent job keeping them scoreless and off the board so far.
You know, it's funny. We heard coming into the season how much of a different player Weeks was, and so far he's been the reason why the Wolves have won any games against the Battalion this year has been Mitchell Weeks. As the Battalion win the faceoff back to Winslow, Winslow sends it to Jackson, but Jackson tries to get the shot off, but it misses the net. Wolves now off to the races as they find Larman with the shot into Givinchentis and the big rebound, but it's left out of the net, and Winslow's going to pick it up. Winslow now up to Coe. Coe's going to have the inside step. Coe with the shot, and he misses the net. Back and forth start to this fire wagon hockey. My goodness. Divinchentis out to play the puck, and DeGrazia coming in, but Divinchentis calmly leaves it for Jackson. Jackson up to McDonald, over to Govro. Govro gives it to Petrov. Petrov's just going to chip it in behind the net. Now Delic coming out and playing the puck. He gives it over to Larman. Konyan now coming in with Ladd. Ladd picks up the puck, and he gets whacked a couple of times. No call coming. Up to Russell. Russell finds McDonald in the neutral zone, but it's off his skate. And Delic's going to get it back to his defenseman, Holmes. Konyan now at the center ice, trying to send it on deep into the Battalion zone. He's going to find Ladd, but quickly he doesn't have much time with it as Delic is on him right away. And Ladd tries to send it back, but it's going to hit the referee's skates. It's going to stay there for Konyan to pick it up. Konyan now back to the blue line. He's going to send it into Delic. Delic in the corner. He's going to pass it on, or he's going to be taken out by a Battalion player. Russell giving it to Ladd, back up to McDonald. McDonald loses it coming into the zone, though, and Delic is going to get it up to Goyette, the goal scorer so far for Sudbury. Goyette over to Konyan, and it's going to be back with a big juicy rebound for Robinson, and they're going to tip it in front. Goyette gets the hat-trick goal for the Sudbury Wolves.
What a tip there by David Goyette, picking up his third goal of the afternoon, 19th on the season, as he tips that between the legs of Dom DeVincentis 2 minutes and 7 seconds into this third period. That extends the Sudbury lead to 3 as they go up 3-0. He seems to be a kid that picks it up in the limelight. The last time we saw him against the Frontenacs on national TV, he scored a hat trick that night. he's going to be somebody that's going to make one NHL team happy when they draft him on draft day.
And if you're Ryan Houlihan, you're going to go to sleep tonight and you're going to have visions of missed opportunities. And that's all you're going to see as the puck's back into the Wolves zone. And that's the difference maker so far. Goyette 3, North Bay nothing. As Battalion players are falling all over the place in the Sudbury Wolves zone. And a big hit by Lukin and Yandick at neutral zone, and Christopoulos is going to pick up the puck in his own zone. Sema over to Outwater. Outwater's off his skate. Tries to get up to Wakely, but is stopped in front by Farhan. Now Christopoulos goes for a chase. Christopoulos with it in his own zone at the far side corner. Tries to get it out to Wakely, but he loses handle on it. Now Sema is getting roughed up against the boards. Wakely tries to chip it back in, but it's going to find Lukin behind in the corner. Battalion just kind of skating all around, and it looks like there's going to be a penalty coming up to the Wolves, a delayed penalty for the Wolves, I should say, as the Battalion are going to go back to the power play. And I cannot stress it enough. You have to score on one of these. Why not start now?
I think this is going to be the biggest of the afternoon as they trail now 3-1. You want to be able to cut into this lead with 16:55 remaining, as it looks like Mark Boudreau going to the penalty box there for the Sudbury Wolves. 5th power play opportunity for the afternoon for this North Bay Battalion team. A lot of good chances, just nothing going in.
Coe going for a skate along the blue line. He's going to find Petrov on the near side, but escapes over Petrov's stick. Petrov going to leave it for Nelson at the blue line. Nelson carrying it in over to Coe, and it skips off Coe's stick. He's going to chip it into Russell. Russell behind the net being harassed by Ross. Russell at the half boards on the far side. He's looking for Coe, but he can't get a handle on it. Back to Jackson. Jackson all the way back out to Nelson from behind the net. Coe now bringing it in. Back to Jackson. Jackson tries to get in front to Russell, but he can't quite get it out, or can't quite get a shot away, but instead the Wolves are going to get it all the way down to Dom DiVincentis. And this is where I was saying to Matt the other day that I'm going to start calling Dom DiVincentis Doc, because he doesn't get the run support. Guy plays out of his mind, and the team just seems to not be able to score in front of him like they do, but they did on Thursday against the Ice Dogs. Russell chasing the puck in, and it's left for Jackson, but instead he gets it to Petrov. He tries to get it over to Jackson. Jackson back to Nelson. Nelson over to Coe. Coe looking across ice for Petrov, but it's blocked in front. Nelson back to Coe. Coe with the shot, and it's lost in front. And the Wolves are going to go up 3-on-1, it looks like, who are now developing a 2-on-1 as the Wolves kind of collapse back. It's left in front for Petrov. He's left for Jackson. People urging them on as they're on a bit of a 3-on-1. Jackson over to Coe. Coe can't get the handle, but he finally scores. Mitch, the hustle. Russell gets North Bay on the board with a power play goal. 3-1, Wolves lead.
Russell's 26th of the season, picking up the 6th. Brandon Coe extending his point streak to 7 games now is with that beautiful pass. Almost looked like it was a little too much as they had that 3-on-1 going down the left wing side. As you see Jackson sending it over to Coe, and Coe just finding the trailer Russell, who puts it in the yawning cage. And there we go. We talked about the importance and the urgency to score on that power play. And there they put the power in power play as they pick up the power play goal here with 15:30 remaining.
Had to think it was going to come eventually as Tarasevic with the quick shot in, and Weeks is just going to glove it down. But, I mean, eventually you give them enough opportunity, they're going to find the back of the net. Maybe not as early as you had hoped, but better late than never.
No, when you give a team like the North Bay Battalion 5 power plays, you got to think they're going to score on at least one of them, as they have a 25.8% conversion rate so far. So it's going to drop just a little bit, but you know what? That might give them some life here in this third period.
The Battalion, it's not looking too good when they're down after 2 periods as Tarasevic gets a shot, but it misses. They're 5-11-1 when trailing after the second period, so Battalion looking to make that to 6-11-1 as the puck is rimmed around the Wolves zone. Romani now leaving it for Tarasevic, who gets it back, but he loses it to the Wolves. Puck sent up to Yandick, who loses it to Ladd. Ladd over to Winslow. Winslow carries it over his blue line. He's going to chip it into Bouchard. Bouchard with the shot, but it's going to ride off his stick and out of place. So yes, Mitch the Hustle Russell with a goal, finally getting the Battalion on the board.
Really good, and I'd really like the pressure that that fourth line put on. Good shot there by Bouchard, getting that face-off as it went up the stick of the Sudbury Wolves. So we're going to get a face-off deep inside the Sudbury Wolf territory, and with any luck, they can control the play, and the Battalion can continue to try and cut into this 2-goal lead.
Yeah, you need time as your enemy now as you're falling down 2 goals. It's 29-20 the shots for the Battalion. McDonald with the puck at the half wall. Back to Lucan. Lucan's going to send it in for a tip-off Van Steensel. Van Steensel's going to leave it back for McDonald, who gets it behind the net. McDonald now losing the puck to Mania. Mania sends it around Delic. Delic's going to leave it out for Goyette, the goal scorer. The only goal scorer for the Wolves, I should say. There's only 2 goal scorers in this game, and it's a 3-1 lead for the Wolves. Goyette chipping it back to Mania. Mania losing the handle on it to Van Steensel, but instead it gets past him, and it gets out to Conyon. McDonald now carrying it over, leaving it for Russell. Russell taking the shot, and it gets into Weeks, and Russell with the backhanded shot, but Weeks stands tall. Ross now, the captain for Sudbury, skating it behind his net. Up to Conyon. Conyon to Delic. Delic carrying it over into the Battalion zone. And Coe comes in and gets it off Goyette's stick. Delic now skating it around the Battalion zone. He looks to find Goyette, but he can't as Coe gets it and passes over to Petrov, who quickly gives it to Jackson. Jackson skating it over, but made one move too many as Coe tried to keep one half of his body onside, but he couldn't quite, and it's an offside call with 13:38 left in the third period.
And with that assist by Brandon Coe, like I said, he extends his point streak to 7 games. But with that assist, he currently has 20 power play assists. That's good for second in the OHL. Those are numbers that kind of get overlooked when you look at how big his points are, is that he's getting a lot of assists on the power play. So good job for North Bay in this power play unit that they send out.
And for Coe, that's his 12th point in 6 games against the Wolves, as there's a quick opportunity against DiVincentis, who gives it to Nelson, who gives it to Coe, but he immediately loses it. Also, Russell likes playing against the Wolves. That's his 11th point in 6 games. Goyette now up to 10 points in 7 games played against the Battalion. McCallum now with the puck in the Battalion zone. Loses it to Coe. Coe looking like he's going to just pass it back to Winslow, which he does. Winslow trying to skate it up past Lerman. Winslow is going to chip it in. Coe go for a chase as Weeks plays it out, but to Coe! And it was almost an open net chance as it skates past Nelson, or bounces past Nelson, I should say. As Coe almost had the chance, but Weeks got the stick out in front. Petrov trying to do the fancy saucer pass, but it's knocked down. Our man just going to dump it into the Battalion zone as Asadorian goes for it behind the net. And Ladd trips up and goes hard into the boards. He's a little bit slow getting back up. Govro now dipsy-doodling over the blue line, but he's taken out by 2 Wolves. Now the Wolves are on the attack. Yandick with the shot, and he misses the net with it. And it's back out to the neutral zone for Holmes. And the puck's back into DiVincentis, who's gone out to play for the puck, but it bounces over his stick, and Christopoulos leaves it for Wakely. Wakely leaves it to Sema, who looks surprised to get it as Wakely goes up with a head of steam. Wakely looking to get around Holmes, but he can't as Holmes plays him hard. And the puck is sent to Sema, and Sema immediately, or kind of fans on the shot, I should say. Govro now looking to get it over to Christopoulos, his D partner. Christopoulos getting around Asadorian, getting whacked. But it's given off, he shoots it, but it's blocked in front of Asadorian now with the chance of going up the ice. Smith now carries it in. Leaves it for Holmes. Holmes with a shot off the post, but it goes into the corner. McDonald picks it up. McDonald with some ice. He's going to get a full head of steam here before he goes up against the Wolves. As the Wolves come out with that goal-scoring line of Goyette. McDonald out in front to Russell, but he can't get a shot away. As he gives it to Nelson, who tips it in front by Van Steensel. And it's past wide of the net. Goyette now the goal scorer, carries it over, but Nelson chips it up, and it almost went over the glass, but it didn't quite hit over it. Conyon rims it around the zone. Back into Goyette. Russell now picks it up from Goyette. He's behind the Battalion net. Looking for some options. He's going to pass it up to Nelson at the neutral zone. Nelson's going to carry it on over to Van Steensel. Van Steensel tries to get a shot away, which handcuffs Weeks. And McDonald, if he could get the bouncing puck, had a wide open cage. Christopoulos back over to Nelson. Nelson looking for an opportunity, but he hits it off his skate, and it's back to Christopoulos. 10:45 left here in the third period. McDonald is going to pick it up for Christopoulos. Christopoulos tries to give it to Petrov, but it's just ahead of him. Petrov misses the puck, and Goyette's going to get a chance as Lucan tries to send it back in, and now the Battalion are on a delayed offside. 10:30 now left in the third. Shots 32-20 in favor of the Battalion. Our man with it. Passing it on over to Grazia. DeGrazia over to McCollum, but instead it's going to hit DiVincentis, who kicks it into the corner. Armand over into the far side corner now with the puck. Gets it in front of DeGrazia, but it's knocked off his stick by Jackson. Back behind the net. The Wolves are going to pick it back up. Armand, as this shot goes in on DiVincentis, who stands tall. Petrov over to Coe, who's off his shin pads, and it's going to go almost the length of the ice, and the Wolves are going to recover. McCallum now, passing up to Larman. Larman over to DeGrazia. DeGrazia hits the post. McCallum with a shot, and what a diving save by Dom DiVincentis. What a great glove by Dom DiVincentis to keep the Battalion in it, Derek.
And what a better way to go to the media break as Dom DiVincentis finding a way to get across the ice to make a big glove save here as the Battalion still trail by 2, 3-1. But a goal by Mitchell Russell is cut into the Sudbury Wolves lead. As coming up in the Longs Maple Syrup post-game show, we'll have Bob Coles regain us to take a look around the OHL and to recap this ever exciting game as it comes down to the final moments. A lot of action we're going to expect here in the final 9.5 minutes of play. Again, North Bay going to have to do something here to try and score early to cut this lead down to 1 as time is not on their side at this moment. Courtney, really exciting here in this third period.
Very exciting so far, a bit of back and forth, and as I mentioned earlier, the stats are not on their side as they're 5-11-1 when trailing after the second period, but they're looking to make it 6-11-1 here as Russell gets a goal to get them back into it, and Dom DiVincentis doing his best to try and keep the team in it as the Wolves are going to come back with McCallum's line, and the Battalion are going to come out with Romani's line. As the puck's won back for the Wolves, but the Battalion get possession of it. Tarasevic carries it over and out of his zone, but he loses possession of it as Bouchard goes chasing after it for Anamania. Puck's back to Robinson. Robinson gives it to McCallum. McCallum looking for some options as he carries it over his blue line. He's going to send it back to Anania. Robinson back to Anania again. Anania is getting a lot of touches on this shift. Up to Ladd. Ladd's going to look over to his D partner of Govro. Govro going to send it up to Robinson, and it's going to try to get Jackson, but it's going to kick off Robinson as Coe takes a shot. And I don't know where that hit, but I think it hit the crossbar. What a chance for Brandon Coe. Back to Coe. Coe between the legs, and he gets a shot away to Weeks. But Weeks stands tall once again. The Battalion are buzzing now, trying to get a chance here to tie up or at least pull this game within 1. Winslow with the puck in his zone. Passing it off to Ladd. Ladd looking for some options, passes it back to Winslow. Winslow decides to skate it on up the ice as he carries it in behind the Wolves zone, or behind the Wolves net, and he still has the puck as now Coe comes in and tries to take it, but instead, Yendik's going to get it. Puck coming in on DiVincentis, and it's going to go for icing as he was just watching that go through his crease.
Nice to see Grayson Ladd got right back out there, didn't miss any shifts, but still favoring that left leg as he left the ice. That would be a big loss if they had to miss him, as they currently are without one of their defensive stallers, Tanias Mathurin. Ladd brought over to fill that gap and provide some senior leadership on that defensive core and being known as one of the best defensive players in the league.
Nelson skating it around in his zone, passes it back to McDonald! Kyle McDonald with the quick goal from the blue line. He gets another one, and the Battalion are within 1 with 8:11 left on the third period.
22nd goal of the season for Kyle McDonald. He scored Friday night the game winner against the Mississauga Steelheads, and here again capitalizing at a very appropriate time as they cut the lead to 1 here, 3-2. He's one of those players brought over at the deadline that we've said didn't look so comfortable at first, but he's growing more and more comfortable every shift with this North Bay Battalion. And now that he's finding some chemistry with Mitchell Russell, he's adding a lot of punch to this lineup.
What a shot by Kyle McDonald, and he's looking better and better, as you mentioned, Derek, as he plays more and more games with the Battalion. What a find by GM Adam Dennis as DiVincentis rims it around, but Konyan gets out there, and it's given to Goyette. So 3 goal scorers so far in this game now, 1 for Sudbury and 2 for the Battalion. The Sudbury Wolves lead 3-2 with 7 minutes and 45 seconds left on the play, and it's going to go back for icing, which is how they scored the last goal.
So we talk about the importance of just cutting away. You got to know that you're not going to be able to cut that lead down all at once, and that's exactly what the Battalion are doing. Slowly chipping away. 7:43, that's lots of time to get that tying goal. Just keep doing what you're doing. Good things are happening. Make it hard on Mitchell Weeks. The floodgates are open, so let's see if we can keep adding to it.
Shot favors the Battalion 34-23 as the Battalion win the faceoff back into their own zone. Lucan gives it on up to Sema, who's almost knocked into the Wolves bench as Weeks goes out of his net to play it, and it's given away to Wakely. Wakely in front, but he's taken off the puck. He had a golden opportunity. Anania now passing it on up into the Battalion zone. Lucan's going to go and get it. Lucan taken out hard along the boards by Yandick. Yandick now back to Robinson, and it's going to go back around, and the Wolves are just going to try and kill off some time here. 7 minutes left in the third period.
Couple imports there. Yanvik and Lucan playing hard against each other for either team.
Outwater now breaks the puck out of his own zone. He's going to chip it on down the ice as he had Christopoulos and Wakely with him. Wakely goes in to chase it as the Battalion go for a shift change. And Boudreau's going to chip it on down into the Battalion zone, so no icing. Nelson behind his net, plays it to Winslow. Winslow looking up for the big gun of Matvey Petrov. Petrov carrying it into the Wolves zone. He tries and dipsy doodles around Robinson, which he does. He tries to pass it out front for Coe, but he can't find his man. Petrov with the good in the corner on the near side. Gives it away to McCallum. McCallum now over his blue line, gets it out of his zone. Off to Lerman. Lerman gains the Battalion zone. Lerman in the far side corner tries to shoot it on net, but DiVincentis from a tough angle gets it. Now Coe trying to find Petrov, but it's just going to go out of the reach of Petrov's stick, and it's going to go to Collins, who passes it back up quickly to McCallum. McCallum over to DeGrazia, and Nelson tries to take him out, but he just misses as Nelson finds Van Steensel. Van Steensel was in all alone, but he's called on the offside call. 5:58 left in the third period, Derek.
Very close call there, but unfortunately Van Steensel just a step ahead of that bouncing puck at the blue line as it's calling down on the offside call. But we're going to see coming down a very healthy dose of that top two lines of the North Bay Battalion as they've got 6 minutes to try and get that tying goal against the Sudbury Wolves, who are happy just to keep the puck down as far as they can away from their own goalie deep inside the Battalion territory.
And secondary scoring, the tail for the Battalion is Kyle McDonald and Mitch Russell on that second line, getting both goals so far as we see them out there now. Ladd with the puck in his own zone, chips it up and over McDonald's head and out of the Battalion zone. Holmes now chipping it on back up the ice to Konyan, with Christopoulos with the good stick, gets the puck away from him. Konyan now left in front with Goyette. Goyette with the shot. Konyan with the shot. What a save by DiVincentis. 3 golden opportunities for the Wolves. And Dom DiVincentis doing his part to keep the Battalion in it.
We're going to have a golden leg award other than just a golden glove, I think, after those saves.
Oh, I think I'm with you on that one. Josh Rosenweg came in here on Thursday and has a great game for goaltending. Dom DiVincentis not wanting to be one up as Christopoulos finds McDonald in the Wolves zone. McDonald to Van Steensel, who takes the shot, and it's over the net. Russell now with it in the far side corner in the Wolves zone. He tries to find Van Steensel, who finds Winslow, and it's blocked in front. Ross now just chipping it on up out of his zone, and Van Steensel gets it in the neutral zone, gives it to Ty Nelson. Nelson, also affectionately known as Kid Nelly, takes it in the near side corner, and it's knocked in front of Weeks, but instead the Wolves get possession. Tarasevic with the puck out in front to Romani, and what a save by Weeks, but Romani scores! The Battalion tie it at 3! Anthony Romani with the goal. What a save by Mitchell Weeks, diving across, and then Romani gets the second chance. 4:38 left in the third period.
Romani with his second of the season from a bad angle. He's in almost beyond the goal line, uses Weeks as a bouncing board and puts it past him. But let's go back and talk about those saves of DiVincentis, as it looks like they're going to get a little longer look at this as Ross goes back to talk to his goalie as the head coach of the Sudbury Wolves. Craig Duncanson very livid on the bench with the referee there after that goal. But you got to think back to those saves of Dom DiVincentis. What better way to motivate your team as a goalie as making saves like that? And here we go. That's a good goal. 3-3. What a final 4:38 we have here at Memorial Gardens.
Oh, this rivalry is something, Derek, and I've said it before on the broadcast, but my old Rock'em Sock'em Don Cherry videos used to say, how many times do you see a big save at one end, it either results in a goal, or they go down and make another big save or get a goal on the other end. So right there, case in point, is the Battalion coming back with some momentum now as Ladd chips it in for that top line of Jackson, Petrov, and co. Winslow with it now, carrying it into the near side half boards. Gets it in behind the Wolves net. The Wolves are just going to chip it out, and it's out. They're calling for a penalty.
And it will be. It'll be at the puck out of play call, so the Battalion will get an opportunity here on their 6th power play of the afternoon. They go up 4-3 as there's 4:06 remaining. But yeah, this building has come alive after that goal. Coming back from that 3-goal deficit, one of those, you hear those motions, or one of the common threads is always 3 goals is one of the worst leagues in hockey, and there we see it evaporate here as the Wolves blow that 3-goal lead momentarily.
The Battalion certainly put themselves in a good position here, and you definitely want to beat the Wolves in regulation. Ko now coming in with some speed. He tries to chip it over, but it's blocked in front by the Wolves. Ross now going to send it back out to Nelson. Nelson keeps it in. Nelson over to Petrov, but Petrov fans on the one-timer. And the puck is sent down into the Battalion zone for DiVincentis to come out and play it quickly. Back up to Petrov. Petrov with some speed, leaving it for Russell. Russell now at the half wall. Russell out front to Jackson. Jackson with the shot in the handcuffs. Weaks a bit, but he's able to get it out, and the Wolves clear the zone. DiVincentis now behind his net with the trapezoid. Almost losing it out to the no-play zone. Gives it to Nelson. Goyette there, trying to harass Nelson a little bit, but he can't. Russell carries it past Yandick, but it's left out front. And now Goyette, the goal scorer, is going to carry it down into the Battalion zone. He's going to take a shot on DiVincentis, who stands tall with a minute left in the power play. 3:06 in regulation.
Nothing there happening really on the first 60 seconds of that power play opportunities. We see the second unit come out. They're going to try and get some opportunities as they want to get the puck deep and have lots of zone time, get that puck back to the point where we can see Winslow with that big shot, maybe get some traffic in front of that goal from this unit.
Now we're going to see that second, as you mentioned, that second unit come out for an extended look here on the power play as Winslow's going to pass it across the ice to McDonald, one of the goal scorers for the Battalion. McDonald at the far side half wall, passing it back to Ladd. The Windsor connection. Ladd walking the line, passing it over to McDonald. He's got a lethal shot. He tries to find Winslow, who's looking backdoor. Winslow in the corner leaves it for Van Steensel, who off a body and gets back to Winslow. Winslow and Van Steensel swapping spots. Ladd over to McDonald. McDonald winds up for the shot, but it's blocked in front and breaks the stick of Larman. But instead the puck's out into the neutral zone for McDonald. McDonald's going to carry it back in real quick, and he's going to get a shot off Holmes. Holmes hobbled a little bit, but he's still going to remain in the play. Ladd now again walking the line, gives it back to McDonald, who gives it quickly to Winslow, who had a wide open net, but he couldn't handle the pass from McDonald. Wakely now trying to dig it out, leaves it for Van Steensel as the power play is going to expire here. Ladd now carrying it at the blue line. He's going to wind up and try to shoot it, but it's blocked in front by Delic. And now Peyton Robinson with the puck in his own zone. He's just going to flip it on up and out, and Ladd's going to stop it at the red line. Ladd looking up for Wakely. Wakely chips it in. And he's at the half wall now. He's looking out front for a pass, and he almost gets Petrov. Nelson pinching in, takes a bit of a hit, and tries to get the puck in, but instead the Wolves regain possession as Delic carries it up over the blue line. Goyette chipping it in. Nelson's going to get it, and he's going to collide a little bit with Konyan. Ko now with 1:28 on the clock. He's going to just dump it in, and Petrov's going to chase. Here comes Jackson. And now Goyette is going to chip it on out, and Christopoulos is going to stop it. Christopoulos up to Petrov. Petrov with a bit of a 2-on-1. He's going to send it out front to Brandon Ko! With 1:11 left in the third period, the Battalion take a 4-3 lead.
Brandon Ko, with his 29th of the season, has given the North Bay Battalion a lead here late in this third period. 71 seconds remaining, and Brandon Ko, as he does, comes through clutch in the moments we need him. Brandon Ko, the leader of this team, does it again for the North Bay Battalion as they come back from a 3-goal deficit. 1:11 to play here as the Sudbury Wolves look to now it's their time to come back.
With apologies to our usual play-by-play man, Matthew Sukram, The Coast Show is here and alive and well.
It's a real thing.
It is a real thing. And the man just takes over hockey games sometimes. What a heck of a player. You know, it took him a couple of years to find his footing here, as Sudbury's going to take a timeout here with a minute left in the third. But it took him a little while to find his footing. But, man, are we ever glad that he's here in North Bay.
Really good, and that experience he gained last year from playing with the Barracudas in the AHL, even though it was only a limited amount of time, really proved that he could play at the next level. San Jose sent him back to the North Bay Battalion to get a little more experience and see if he can really take over the game, and he definitely has, as he sits atop of the points race right now, currently with 78 points on this season. That's good for the lead in the OHL. The Sudbury Wolves just coming out of their timeout as there's 71 seconds left on the board. They're going to have to pull out all the stops now if they want to try and tie this up.
And Brandon Coe with these 2 points has now leapfrogged Adam Henrik. And he holds the 9th possession on the battalion leaderboard of all time. And he's behind Justin Brazo by 40-some, or just under 40 points for the all-time lead in North Bay Battalion history, albeit Brazo has played 30 more games. Ladd with the puck in his own zone. He's harassed a little bit as the Wolves are going to keep an eye on Weeks for you. Russell carries the puck up to the neutral zone. He's just going to chip it in, and it's going to find the far side of the ice. Owen Van Steensel now tries to get the puck, but instead, as there goes Weeks, as the Wolves are going to carry it into the battalion zone. McDonald now looking up at ice, and he's going to try and get it in, but instead Mania is going to block it. Holmes going to look back at Mania. Mania now just in front of his net with 35 seconds left on the clock. Mania is going to just shoot it in. It's going to go off the end plate in front of net for Christopoulos, but Divinchentis is going to get a hold of it, as that looked a whole lot of uncomfortable for Paul Christopoulos trying to kick it. And instead, these two teams are going to get a little bit of a scuffle going here after the whistle.
Yeah, and if you know about how much we've talked about the kick plates here at Memorial Gardens over the past few games, it's something that's really lively. And Paul Christopoulos kind of thought the puck was going to go around the net. Last second, he had to change directions to go back to his left as the puck rebounded right back out in front of the net. He kind of tripped over it, but good thing Devin Sanchez was alert to pull in that rebound as we prepare for the final 27.9 seconds here.
Ladd in the far side corner of the battalion zone. There's about 4 or 5 bodies over there. And remember, the Wolves have the extra man right now as they have the empty net. Russell carrying it over to this corner, and he's just content to play it up against the boards and kill off as much time. With 12.6 seconds on the clock, and we're going to get another whistle.
I really like how Brandon Coe and Kyle Jackson, even though they weren't down deep in the zone, they were very concentrated and knew exactly where he went. Coe went exactly to defending that defenseman. As soon as that puck went back into the corner after the draw, he went directly to where Ulan knew where he wanted to, and then a reverse on the other side as Jackson did the same thing when the puck came over, as the Sudbury Wolves have 7 guys out there and they're looking around of who's going to come out. Oh wait, I'm going off. No, you go off. And finally Mania leaving the ice, but just very good recognition of the battalion defensive zone structure there, and everyone committing to it here as time winding down.
Mitch Russell's going to carry it out into the neutral zone. He's going to send it in on net. It's going to hit the post, but no icing as he had it over the neutral zone, or over the red line. McCallum now in the back corner, and that's going to be how this one ends, as the battalion come from behind. The Sudbury Wolves had a 3-0 lead, and the battalion win the game 4-3, and it doesn't look like the Wolves are very happy about that.
Well, when you have a 3-0 lead, that shows character with the North Bay Battalion coming back from 3 goals down. That's only the 6th time they came back when after trailing after 2 periods of play. And I can't recall even the last time they came back from a 3-goal deficit as they did today. And what a game all around. Dom Devin Sanchez making numerous saves, standing on his head. We can go back to that spot with 8 minutes left where he made 3 beautiful kick saves and then coming down, romantic tying the game. What a game overall. What an exciting atmosphere here as the battalion pick up their 7th straight victory.
And this is only 500 fans. Imagine what it'll be like when there's more people in the buildings like we had before Christmas. What a great game for the battalion. I mean, what a great third period, I should say. Not a great game. The first 40-some minutes of it was pretty, head-scratching for the battalion, but they really turned it on in the third period. But to take you through all of that and more, we're going to send things over to Mr. Bob Coles.
Thank you, Courtney, very much. And it wouldn't surprise me if Brian Ulan's message is Boys, we found a way to win this one, but we got to play more consistently over 60 minutes. But what a comeback story for these North Bay Battalion here today. Around the OHL, we'll update some scores for you. Kingston leading Hamilton 5-4. About 3.5 minutes left in Kingston. Mississauga and Ottawa are finished. The Steelheads winning easily 5-0. Zachary Lavoie with a couple of goals for the Steelheads, who stay 5 up on North Bay in the Central Division standings. And Oshawa doubles up the count on Peterborough 6-3. That is also gone finals. So everyone going home now and get ready for the Super Bowl. But what a third period. The Bengals and Rams hope they play the fourth quarter like the North Bay Battalion did today. They were down 1-0 after 1, 2-0 after 2, and were outscored. The Wolves were 4-1 by North Bay in the third period. Battalion winning at 4-3. The shots were 37-28 Battalion, 11 each in the third period, believe it or not. And North Bay outshot Sudbury in the other two periods, 15-7 and 11-10. Power play, Sudbury didn't get one today.
No, and that was our concern going into the third period.
North Bay had 6 and scored on one of them. 37-26, North Bay won the face-off board. So the scoring summary, David Goyette got the first 2 goals of the game. He now is 18 on the year, 14:41 of the first from Conyon and Collins, and 12:38 of the second from Conyon and Ross, Liam Ross. Then in the third, Goyette got the hat trick, and we thought, hey, it's over. That was his 19th goal of the year at 2:07 from Peyton Robinson and Coach Adelic. But then cue the Battalion comeback. The power play did get them going. The only power play goal they scored, it was Mitchell Russell's 26th from Brandon Coe and Kyle Jackson at 4:26. 11:49, they made it a 1-goal game. Kyle McDonald's 22nd from Ty Nelson and Mitchell Russell. Second point for Russell. 15:22, Anthony Romani tied it. It looked like he was hooked, and no call, but he scored anyway from Tarasevic. It's got to be the biggest goal of Romani's young OHL career. Maybe the one against the Greyhounds too, but certainly 2 big ones. That was from Tarasevic, Romani's second at 15:22, and then the game winner was off the stick of, you know it, Brandon Coe, his 30th of the year, from Matvey Petrov and Paul Christopoulos at 18:49. But it was 3-0 at the point, guys, and Sudbury had a couple of chances to put it away. They hit a crossbar on one of them, and then North Bay went right down. Brandon Coe hit a crossbar, and we said, okay, that's it. And then Sudbury got a penalty, and then it just got the Battalion going, guys, and they scored once, they scored twice, they scored 3 times, and they scored 4 times. But great goaltending. You know, we talk about the offensive comeback tonight, guys, Ben, but Dom DiVicentis, when Sudbury's shot hit the crossbar and the rebound came out and he made an unbelievable stop, that might have been the turning point, because it really got the offense going after that. They were down 3-1 at the time, too.
Yeah, Dom actually had a lot of really good chances against him that he just managed to somehow get a glove on, get a pad on, get a post on a few times. But I got to say, I feel for Goyette tonight. He scores a natural hat trick, and you can't pull out a win from the team. Like, you just shake your head. Well, yeah, with Dom, he did some great stuff, especially in the third period, to keep them in the game, to make that possible. Now, I didn't see the stats, but I'd be curious to see how many of Brandon Coe's goals were game winners. 7 game winners?
7 game winners. That's second in the OHL. The leader has 8 currently.
And that's what makes their line tough, is on that play that Coe scored on, he was wide open on the wing, and Sudbury was trying to get back, and they were doing a good job on Jackson and and Petrov, but there are 3 very good hockey players, and you can't leave Brandon Coe wide open.
No, that's the thing with Coe is, and you see it at times when he's playing, you just see he's decided he's going to score a goal now. He's decided it's time. The co-show is about to begin, and it does. And that's, I think, as Derek mentioned earlier, with him spending the year last year in the AHL, he's just used to playing against bigger, stronger, tougher guys who've graduated to the next level now. So when he's back against OHL players, it's kind of like, a man playing with teenagers. He's just, when he's up against the wall, he can just decide, I'm going to make it happen now, and more often than not, he does.
Well, that's quite 7 straight wins now, Derek, and that was probably a game that, for the fans that were here, they were saying, okay, we just didn't show up for this one. Not a lot of intensity, but I don't know what was said in the dressing room, but that was a different North Bay team in the third period than the first 2.
Yeah, and it just seemed like they had a little more drive, a little more urgency to get to the net and make good things happen. They weren't giving up on loose pucks. They weren't having those shots from the outside. They were getting shots actually from inside in that home plate area that I talked about in the second intermission. And that's where you're going to create offense, and that's exactly what they did. They never looked like they were really out of it. They got lots of shots through the first 2 periods, 26 shots through 2 periods of play. At one point, I didn't think Mitchell Weeks was possible to beat tonight. But that's just my opinion. The Battalion believed that it was going to happen, and when it happened, it just started pouring, and the momentum, you could see it build and build and build, whether it be a goal or a Devin Sentis hit that just continued building the momentum, and the players just gravitated, and they wanted that win, and they were going to do whatever they can to get that comeback and eventually get that game-winning goal. Brandon Coe, unbelievable. You look down at all of the leader categories, you're going to see his pitcher up there in the top 5 of almost every offensive category that's listed on the OHL website.
Now, what was your, for the Wolves, angle? I mean, they're up 3-0 on the road and in the third period and they lose. What was their sort of, we're in trouble moment?
I think it was just that the taking of that one extra penalty there, that over-the-glass penalty. It was almost like things aren't going our way tonight here in the third period. It's tough being a young team to try and keep your foot on the pedal. They just don't have the depth that the North Bay Battalion do, and unfortunately, games like this is going to build for their future. Sudbury Wolves, they're young. They're going to really have a great future for them in the next year or 2.
Well, Brandon Coe now, latest stats, 78 points, 2 ahead of Wyatt Johnston of Windsor and then his 30th goal ties him for 4th with James Hardy of Mississauga. Luke Evangelista for London leads with 34, and Coe is 4th in assists with 48. So he's doing it with passing, he's doing it with scoring, and he's doing it with big goals. I mean, big goals like the other night, he gets a penalty shot goal to put it away in Mississauga, and then tonight he gets the game winner and finishing off a big comeback.
And I think a big thing with him that we've starting to see possibly this year that I'm told was definitely not a thing in previous years from people who really followed the team is that he's starting to make some defensive plays too. So as much as he's putting up great, fantastic numbers on front, he's rounded out his game as well too, which makes him just that much more of a valuable player to have on the team.
And that's when you got a good team, right? Where you really, it's like in baseball parlance, you win the first 2 games of a series handily. You go in there on a Sunday and your starter doesn't have it, and you're down 7-2 in the middle innings, and you find a way to win. And that's what the Battalion did tonight.
Yeah, and we talked earlier in the game about run support for Dom DeVincentis. We've seen him play a lot of good games. Unfortunately, the Battalion just weren't able to capitalize and put goals on the board for Dom DeVincentis. Today, they just kept plugging away. Even though they were behind, they wanted to do this for Dom, showing that he was there. It took a little more to get past Mitchell Weeks. Once we got the first one past him, it's like he kind of lost his confidence a little bit, and the Battalion just built on their confidence, knowing that many more goals were going to come their way.
Okay, next game for the Battalion will be Wednesday in Sudbury, and that'll be an interesting one now after the North Bay comeback. Friday night, they're home for Peterborough, and then a week from today, they'll be in Ottawa to play the 67s to wrap up the season series with them. They're playing Ottawa 6 times this year, usually play 4, but with the craziness of the schedule and no Western Conference games except the Sioux, North Bay needed to fill in 2 extra ones, and Ottawa's the opponent, and that should be interesting how they do. But Mississauga won today, Ben, so they're still 5 back of the Steelheads, but they'll take that.
Yeah, and you can't control what other teams are going to do. All you can do is do what you're going to do. And today the Battalion went out there and they kept going right to the end. What was impressive that we heard mentioned a few times that the Sudbury, this was their 3rd game in 3 days. But for North Bay, this was their 3rd game in 4 days, which is not a whole lot better. That day does make a difference in there. But still, for them to come out and put on that much push and that much power right at the end of the game after being in that tight of a schedule shows, the depth that the team has and the drive that they have. We saw some tips in front of the net. I don't think any of the tips went in, but we saw them getting to the front of the net. We saw a lot more one-timers on cross ice plays. So they really found their game again in the 3rd period instead when they could have very easily, especially after that 3rd goal against, could have just lost it and packed it in.
You're listening to the Game Day Broadcast post-game show, proudly sponsored by Long's Maple Syrup, 100% pure Canadian. And, well, Derek, what are you expecting Wednesday night? Sudbury's going to be awfully disappointed, not getting any points this afternoon. What do you think Wednesday night entails for the two teams when they meet again in Sudbury?
I think we're going to see a lot of what we saw tonight, a very close defensive checking game. Unfortunately, I don't think the Battalion can go again without giving up a power play opportunity. They're going to have to keep working on that specialty teams, taking advantage when they get that extra man. Sudbury's going to look, and they're going to come out strong, knowing that they're in that building. They want to see that Wolf come out across the ice, and they're going to want to try and do it as often as they can. They want revenge for tonight's loss.
And again, our next Game Day broadcast will be on Friday with the Battalion hosting the Peterborough Petes, their 2nd visit to Memorial Gardens, and it's the 4th of the season series, the final one. Battalion down to just 21 games after this one, and again, they played one more game than Mississauga. Okay, boys, Super Bowl picks. I'll give you a little advice here. In the last 7 Super Bowls, the team that has lost the coin toss, remember, if you lose the coin toss, that means the other team doesn't take the ball, they defer, so the team that loses the coin toss, last 7 Super Bowls, has won each one. So there's a stat for it. So who do you like, the Rams or the Bengals?
I don't know enough about the sport to actually have a intelligent opinion, but I'm going to say the Rams. They're playing at home. People like to win at home. I think they're going to have a little extra step in their fight there. So I'm going to go with the Rams.
Okay, and a Detroit fellow, Eminem, is doing the halftime show, so taking part in that. So maybe that bodes well. Matthew Stafford, of course, played for Detroit, so maybe that bodes well for the Rams. What do you think?
I think anytime you're talking Detroit, it's not going to bode well for anyone. Matthew Stafford spent his time on that losing team, and to me, his losing streak is going to continue here. Joe Burrow and the Cincinnati Bengals are going to come away with it. It's going to be a tight game, but the young kicker is going to come through in clutch time, and he's going to say to the boys when he goes out there, boys, we're winning the Super Bowl as I put this through.
Ryan McPherson, who's been, he won the game in Tennessee. He won the game in Kansas City. Let's see if that happens again today. Go ahead, Ben.
So you mentioned that Eminem is from Detroit.
Right.
Snoop Dogg and Dr. Dre are big West Coast rappers from L.A. So they're doing the show in their hometown for the hometown team. Again, I think the Rams are going to pull it out. I don't know anything about the sport, so I don't know if they're going to win. But
okay, I'm not going to make a pick, but I'll never cheer for the Rams because they're in my division. So go Bengals. That's what I say. And a shout out to my brother-in-law, Richard, who makes Super Bowl chili every year, and he dropped off some at the house a week ago. So I'm the big winner because I'm going to have that chili sometime tonight.
I think Bob's going to be the winner of this game. His wife might come out losing.
Thanks, guys. We're going to wrap it up here. What a comeback for the North Bay Battalion. 4-3 the final score. And again, our next game will be Friday night against the Peterborough Petes at 6:50. Again, Friday night. Once again, the final score, the North Bay Battalion 4, the Sudbury Wolves 3. For Courtney Kenny, Derek Lindeman, and our producer, Ben Long, so long from Memorial Gardens.